From Minute Maid Park in Houston, Texas, Root Sports brings you Houston Astros baseball. Tonight, it's the second game of this three-game series between the first-place Astros and the Seattle Mariners. Good evening, everybody. Bill Brown along with Jeff Blum. And in a moment, Julia Morales joins us to talk about Game 2. The Astros winning last night 8-3. And Dallas Keuchel is a 16-game winner, Blummer.
Yeah, good times to be had. He loves pitching here. Granted, he did give up that home run. Didn't phase him one bit. He still went out there and pitched a great game here at Minute Maid Park.
Especially when the bases were loaded with nobody out in the fourth inning, and this was a real test for him.
Yeah, it really was. The only walk of the game was in this inning, but with a couple base hits and that walk, the bases were loaded, and that's when he started to do his magic. He just wanted to test himself a little bit because he has been pitching so well of late. Does a good job right here getting a ground ball. That's what Dallas Keuchel does. That ground ball to fly ball ratio is off the charts. Double play allows him to go get this punch out of Mark Trumbo, who hit that home run earlier. Gets him out of that jam, and he coasted the rest of the way.
And the Astros got the bombs. Jed Lowry came out of a slump. He hit one out to right.
Yeah, it's good to see. Jed Lowry was 0 for 28, I believe, going into that, driving the ball the other way. Also added a double going the other way. But Bobby Dynamite up there in the train better have his insurance paid up because the Astros are taking shots at it all night long. It's good to see the bats coming alive. We know they love hitting here, and they proved it last night.
Correa returning to the lineup with that long blast. So the Astros now have a 4-game lead. Texas lost late last night. And we check on how teams with 4 games or more on their division leads have fared through 132 games. How did they do? Well, you can see the percentage is very high for making the playoffs. In fact, total all those teams, 212 out of 216 at least made the playoffs with a 4-game lead.
Looks like a pretty good opportunity for the Houston Astros, playing well all through the month of August, looking to get a little bit of an adrenaline push through September to push them into those playoffs like a lot of these other teams have.
The starting pitching has really been at the forefront. It was great for the Astros all through August, and Scott Feldman had the best ERA of any of their pitchers in August.
He sure did, and he was one of those guys that might have been on the bubble coming off the DL with that knee surgery he had something to prove. I think he knew what was in store for him, and he went out and proved himself. He's a salty veteran, been in the league for a long time, so he knows what it's like to battle. But I think that little hiatus he took with the surgery kind of gave him a chance to come back refreshed. Seeing the velocity up, a little more action on that breaking the ball, but that pitch for me that I like from him is that cut fastball. Hitter's only hitting 216 off that cut fastball.
Coming up, September to remember. 30 games is all that stands between the Astros and one of the most amazing turnarounds in baseball history. Can they start September off with another big divisional win? We'll find out. The game is coming up. Presented by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance. Visit us at geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. And by Southwest Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. Coming up, core raking. Carlos Correa's immediate impact was felt in last night's game, but he took a back seat to Houston's resident hitting savant. How does Carlos feel about hitting alongside one of the game's best? Stay tuned to find out. In the pitching. And in the month of August, the game's biggest power brokers were the Houston Astros. Now, with 30 games to go, Houston's newest heroes are in position to do what nobody thought they could. 30 games left to prove that they belong among baseball's elite and set the tone for years to come. September has arrived in Houston, and history is about to be made.
We welcome you into Minute Maid Park as we start Game 2 of this 3-game series between the Astros and the Mariners. All these games count, but it is September now, an exciting month as they turn the calendar, but we have to look back at August. Scott Feldman taking the mound tonight. What an exceptional month of August that he had, but good luck finding a flaw in this starting rotation when you look back at this recent month. All of these starters have been great. It's our AT&T Rewind. The Astros even adding an arm, and Mike Fiers and then Lance McCullers being called up, so the rotations looked a little different, but Dallas Keuchel, of course, doing what Dallas Keuchel does at home last night. We saw him. Colin McHugh has been good all month long. I mentioned Scott Feldman, who's been great in the month. Oh, well, you got to look at Mike Fiers first, and the no-hitter, you got to throw that in there, and how special of a moment was that for the Astros and history of the Astros, and then Scott Feldman, of course, going tonight, but they're together, combined, a starter ERA of 2.55. That's leading the league. So who had the best August of some of those guys that I mentioned? Keuchel, McHugh, Fiers, Feldman. Keuchel with a 1.94 ERA in 6 starts, but Mike Fiers mentioned the no-hitter there. Scott Feldman, though, on the mound right now as he takes the ball. 4 starts, 1.33 ERA. Tweet us who you thought was the most valuable pitcher in the month of August, and a very crucial month for this Houston Astros ball club. As I toss it up to you guys, what an important time for this group to have consistent pitching, especially when the offense has struggled at times. They seem to be coming around now, though, at the right time. Blummer, I ask you this. I know you talked to Feldman, but there's got to be a little bit of competition going on between all these guys who take the mound every night.
No, this stuff's great. What these guys are doing is truly unbelievable, but I like the fact that they're kind of pushing each other. That's what you want to see. We talk about camaraderie between these guys, but it's just a friendly competition. I'm sure that Mike Fiers probably had a pretty good laugh when he walked off the field and said, "Hey guys, you've been pitching pretty good, but I just threw a no-hitter, so go get him next time."
Scott Feldman 5-5 with a 3.75 ERA, 2-4 at home with a 5.16, and he is 5-6 against the Mariners in his career last time out. What a dandy 8 shutout innings at Yankee Stadium, and yet he got a no decision, Plummer.
Yeah, it's amazing. That's what Julia was talking about when she was saying that the offense really hasn't picked these guys up as often as they could. Just pretty amazing when you could give up one run, you'd end up taking the loss. All the offense has to do is score you just a couple runs, but it's tough sledding, but it hasn't changed these guys' attitude. They're still going out there and trying to get the best of the opponent.
Here's the starting lineup for Lloyd McClendon and the Seattle Mariners tonight. Ketel Marte is the shortstop. He leads it off with Kyle Seager at third base. Nelson Cruz is in right field batting third. The cleanup man is second baseman Robinson Cano. With Franklin Gutierrez the DH, Seth Smith at left field, Mark Trumbo at first base, Brad Miller the center fielder, John Hicks is the catcher. And Feldman looks in as the switch hitting shortstop Marte, who has been in the minor leagues much of this season, now is going to be the shortstop with Miller moving to center field. Gets it started. And he takes a strike. He was in the All-Star Futures game this year, and at Tacoma he hit .314, 3 homers, 29 runs batted in, with 20 steals there. Third baseman Lowry in close. Feldman delivers, and it's 1-1 to Marte. Marte led off last night. He was 0 for 4 with 3 strikeouts as the Astros won at 8-3. Missing there, and it's a 2-ball, 1-strike count with Max Stassi getting his first start as an Astro in 2015. He's been in the big leagues each of the last 2 seasons for limited play. High chop. Feldman. On to Marwin Gonzalez. 1-0.
Nice play by Scott Feldman. Field his position. Let's see who's behind him helping him out. Out in the outfield. Left field, Colby Rasmus. Center field, Carlos Gomez. Jake Marisnick out in right field. Jed Lowry and Carlos Correa on the left side of the infield. On the right, you're going to see Jose Altuve and Marwin Gonzalez with an appearance at first base. And like Brownie said, Max Stassi making his first start of the season behind home plate with Scott Feldman.
Kyle Seager had homered in 3 consecutive games coming into this series. Last night he was 1 for 4. The infield shifts around, playing him to pull. That's ball 1 to Seager with 21 homers, 55 runs batted in. He's hit .262 this season. The Mariners are 13th in runs scored in a 15-team American League. 1 ball, 1 strike, and yet the guy who's on deck is leading the league in homers with 39. Nelson Cruz. And Robinson Cano has been on a second-half rampage. And then with Seager exploding, they have 3 very fine hitters lined up in a row here. It's 2-1. The Mariners went 14-14 in August. They're 12 behind the Astros with a 61-71 record. That's lined into right field. Jake Marisnick over to pick it up. And a 1-out single off the bat of Seager gives Cruz a base runner. Michelangelo getting some early votes from Clutch City.
Well, Twitter's been blowing up. These fans enjoying this question.
Why not?
Are you really going to be wrong with any of them?
No, can't be wrong in that group.
I just love the responses. Everybody's in on it.
Nelson Cruz steps up with 39 homers. He's atop the American League home run hitters. He has 82 runs batted in and has a .314 batting average. Altuve is close to second base. There's strike 1 to Cruz, who last night was 1 for 3 with a walk. Cruz has hit .333 against the Astros, bombing 4 homers and driving in 10 runs this season. Cruz on a high pitch leans back. Last year he hit 40 bombs to lead the American League. He was with Baltimore last year, so he has that rare opportunity to have back-to-back 40 homer seasons.
And I know a lot of his home runs have been on the road, but still playing in that Seattle ballpark and being able to hit 40 or more home runs is pretty impressive.
Breaking pitch moves him back. 2 balls and a strike. Lloyd McClendon's club, which is now looking for a general manager, made a couple of trades yesterday. Center fielder Austin Jackson was traded to the Cubs before the game, and then after the game, another center fielder, Justin Ruggiano, went to the Dodgers. Ruggiano was at AAA. 3 balls and a strike. 2 for 13 for Cruz against Feldman. The Astros have 13 straight quality starts from that group. So it's a tough vote for everybody tonight. Big cut, and it's 3-2 to Cruz. Feldman was the number 2 starter out of the gate this season, and things have really been in sync for him in that fabulous month of August. Seager takes off. It's a swing and a miss. Stassi with a throw to Altuve. Safe at second. Out number 2 came on the strikeout of Cruz. Seager got his 6th steal.
It's good to see Nelson Cruz punching out. Stassi was a pretty good pitch to throw on, but sometimes Scott Feldman takes a little while to unfold. You see that leg kick higher than normal, allowing Seager to get in there. We'll take a look at that tag on Supermo, brought to you by Mattress Firm. Pretty good move by Altuve to keep that glove on him too, just in case.
We've seen that happen a few times this year. Robbie Cano was 1 for 4 in last night's game. There's ball 1. Speaking of Supermo, our Supermo operator Marge Krause is celebrating a birthday tonight. Longtime replay operator in our production truck. Happy birthday, Marge.
Happy birthday. Nice work too.
Yeah, all year long and for many, many years. Flared foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. We have enjoyed that Supermo so much. You know, the ability to slow things down frame by frame, and you can tell if you're watching at home what the decision's going to be in New York before you hear it on the replay reviews.
Makes this seat a lot more fun.
Cano has hit .344 over his last 52 games. He's been a really tough out since he got things squared away. He swings at that one, and it's 1 ball, 2 strikes. Robinson Cano.
Look at that last pitch in our strike zone, brought to you by MD Anderson. Good breaking ball.
Scott Feldman is one of the top breaking ball throwers in baseball this year. 3rd highest percentage of curveballs among American League pitchers, 25%. In the dirt, 2-2 as we watch Stassi block that pitch. Had a chance to chat briefly with Jason Castro before the game tonight. He thinks he'll be able to come off the disabled list after the 15 days. He's responding pretty quickly. That right quad injury forcing him onto the DL.
That's amazing to me. The way he came off the field in Minnesota, we watched him gingerly going down the stairs into the tunnel. Thought there was no chance, but that's good news.
Very good news. He's been vital in calling the game, and that was part of the reason that Scott Feldman is working to Stassi tonight. Stassi getting a few days to study this pitching staff. Of course, he's caught bullpens with Scott and some spring training games, things of that nature, but Max has been in AAA all season long.
Yeah, they're not going to give you the keys to the Ferrari the first day, are they?
Altuve to his left. Goes on to first. Excellent play. No runs, 1 hit, 1 man left. Now the Astros back against Roenis Elias in the bottom of the first with a hot Altuve now leading the league in hits. Marwin Gonzalez and Carlos Correa coming up next. lineup is brought to you by Southwest Airlines. Jose Altuve is at second base, leading it off with Marwin Gonzalez at first base, batting second tonight. The shortstop is Carlos Correa, hitting third. The DH and cleanup man is Evan Gattis. With Carlos Gomez in center field, Jed Lowry at third base, Colby Rasmus in left field, Max Stassi the catcher, and Jake Marisnik in right field.
For the Seattle Mariners, there's left-hander Roenis Elias. See his numbers on the season. Career numbers against the Astros. Kind of a tale of two pitchers this season against the Astros. Here at Minute Maid Park, he got lit up in 3 1/3 innings for 7 earned runs. Up in Seattle 5 days later, he went 7 strong, only giving up 2 earned runs. Also set a season high with 10 strikeouts in that game in Seattle.
Altuve was showing bunt, and it's strike one call. Altuve's on a 6-game hitting streak. Fielded by Marte. That's 1 out. Altuve had 45 hits in August to lead the majors.
Defense for the Seattle Mariners. Seth Smith, Brad Miller, Nelson Cruz in the outfield, Kyle Seager, Ketel Marte, Robinson Cano, and Mark Trumbo in the infield. John Hicks doing the catching with Elias.
Marwin Gonzalez, like Altuve, brings the 6-game hitting streak into this one tonight. 274, 9 homers, 31 runs batted in, 423 during his hitting streak, going 11 for 26. And that's ball one from Elias, who has just come back from AAA, and last time out he took a loss at Chicago against the White Sox, giving up 3 earned runs in 6 2/3 innings. He's 27 years old, from Cuba. Defected in 2010, lives in Austin, Texas. In for a strike, and it's 1-1. Marwin shows bunt, stabs at it, and the appeal went to first. He did offer at it on that ruling, and it's a strike to make it 1-2. Marwin's hit .290 as a right-handed batter this season. Elias was 10-12 for the Mariners last year with a 3.85 ERA. As a major leaguer, he's won 14 and lost 19 with an ERA of 3.99. In the dirt, and it's 2-2. 30 games remaining. This is the 6th time the Astros have been 14 games above 500 this season. They've never been 15 over this year. They have a 4-game lead over Texas and 3 in the loss column. Bouncer Elias, 2 outs. It's going to be a most interesting month of September, Mr. Blum.
It is going to be great. Got Correa back healthy. Rumor has it George Springer's moving along. He could make an appearance in this lineup. Pitching staff just keep them going. They may be a little fatigued, dog days of August, but you get in these pennant races, somewhere, somehow, you start to dig a little bit deeper and get reinvigorated by that race.
281 for Carlos Correa. He smacked one high for homer number 16 last night. There's strike one to Correa, who's driven in 45. Just a marvelous year for the 20-year-old, the youngest position player in the majors. His 16 homers, the second most by a shortstop before he turned 21. Fouls that one away. Alex Rodriguez had 26 homers before he turned 21. We're checking around with some of the Mariners broadcasters who were here in Seattle when Alex Rodriguez, well, we're not in Seattle, but they were in Seattle when Alex Rodriguez came up. They think that Correa is a little more advanced. In the hole, it's cut off by Seager, who spins and makes a strong throw. It's a 3 ground ball out inning for Elias, and no score after 1.
one of the pitchers that have been so great for this club, especially in the month of August. We asked you who had the best August, which is a really tough question for us to ask you, but you've given us some great responses so far. Scott Feldman, of course, with a 1.33 ERA and 4 starts, is feeling really good at this point of the season. You know, he missed some time being on the disabled list, almost about a month and a half or so, but coming back, knee feels completely healthy. He said, of course, the arm may be a little bit more fresh at this point of the season. He's around 106 innings right now. Usually ends the year at about 180 range. 200 was always a goal. Of course, with the time off, he's going to miss it, but he does like the way he's throwing the ball right now. He knows how important that is for the club, especially coming down this stretch, guys.
Thanks, Julia. 0-0 going to the second inning. Franklin Gutierrez is the batter. He looks at strike one from Scott Feldman with a .303 average. He has 10 homers, 28 runs batted in. Very strong numbers for Gutierrez, .623 slugging percentage. He's really had a lot of physical problems down through the years, but at age 32, playing extremely well. 1 ball, 1 strike to Gutierrez, who has won a Gold Glove. He is 7 for 21 lifetime against Feldman. Taps that breaking pitch foul for a 1 ball, 2 strike count. We were talking earlier about George Springer. He is playing tonight for the Corpus Christi Hooks. The plan is for him to rest tomorrow, DH Thursday night, and then we'll see. Fly ball left field, going back. Rasmus at the wall, and that one is in the seats. Gutierrez with home run number 11. 1-0 Mariners. 29th run batted in for Gutierrez.
And every once in a while that Crawford box will come back to haunt you as an Astro pitcher. Gutierrez going down and getting his pitch, golfing it out there. But you can see the location kind of middle in, and with an off-speed pitch, it gives that right-handed hitter a little extra time to see that and keep the hands back. And again, if you get it elevated with any kind of velocity going towards that Crawford box, he has a chance to get out.
Seth Smith cracks a line drive into the right center field gap. That will go all the way to the wall in right center. Smith has at least a double. Now Gomez picks it up. Smith is stretching it out, going for 3. No throw from Correa. That's a triple. 5th of the year for Smith.
Feldman pitched so well in August by keeping the ball down, and I understand that breaking ball but previously was down, but an off-speed pitch is easier to adjust to, but this fastball up in the zone, out over the plate. Seth Smith raked it. I didn't realize he still had the wheels to get all the way around to third base.
Yeah. Former quarterback at Ole Miss gets to third. Now the infield comes in. Middle infielders play at halfway for Mark Trumbo, who hit 2 homers last night. Upstairs, and Trumbo checked his swing. That's ball 1. Ted Barrett, the umpire, at first made the check swing call. Chris Conroy is the home plate umpire tonight. Those are the numbers for Trumbo since he was traded from Arizona to Seattle. He has a total of 19 home runs this year. Been a big home run hitter in the past. 2 balls, no strikes. He's hit 7 in his last 19 games. Last night he hit one off the facing of the upper deck in right field for his first homer, and then he went to left field for his second. It's in the air into shallow center, but the infielders were in. Altuve out, and Altuve turns around for the catch. He had a good angle on that one for out number 1.
Thank goodness he did. Looks like otherwise it would have dropped. Outfielders playing relatively deep on Mark Trumbo had a long way to go to try and snag that one. And even the infield playing about that 3/4 depth, trying to cut that runner off at home, but Altuve's got good wheels. Made a good play.
came at an excellent time, and now the infield moves around, shifting on Brad Miller. We're going to move back again and come in closer. Miller grounds one foul. There's strike one to the former shortstop, who started in center field last night after Austin Jackson was traded, and that is the plan for him to be the center fielder. He was 2 for 4 in last night's game. The Mariners want to see if he is their center fielder for next year. No balls, 2 strikes to Miller, who has hit .289 in his last 26 games.
Mariners are not afraid to take an infielder and throw him in the outfield, are they?
No.
Dustin Ackley's another guy.
That's true. Miller's 25. He went to Clemson, where he was ACC Player of the Year. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Miller was a second-round draft choice of the M's in 2011. He's from Orlando, Florida. In 2013, he had a big year against the Astros, hitting .350 with 3 homers. He fouls that one, and it's still a 1 ball, 2 strike count. In Baltimore, the Orioles, who are 63 and 68, trail the Rays 4-0. They're in the top of the 5th. The Rays are 1 game under .500. And on the fringes of the wild card race. Minnesota Twins are here over the weekend, and they are in the wild card race. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Hicks is on deck. And Miller was the shortstop earlier this year, but then Chris Taylor was recalled from the minors May 4th and took over. That's when Miller started working on his outfield play. Lloyd McClendon projects Miller to be a Ben Zobrist type player who can play multiple positions. Miller hits one foul outside the left field line. That Twins series this weekend is very meaningful for both these clubs. Twins are 1 game behind the Texas Rangers for that second wild card spot, and the Rangers, having lost last night, are 68 and 62. The Rangers will be playing the Angels this weekend. In tight, and it's 3-2 to Miller.
Some big series the rest of the way for the AL West.
Yeah, this is divisional play at its best here in the month of September. And these clubs will all have opportunities to go head to head against each other. Fouled straight back for the Astros. It's a series of 25 games against the AL West that started here last night. They have done very well against the Mariners, 10-4 this season. 7-1 here at Minute Maid Park against Seattle. The Astros are 4-8 against the Texas Rangers. They have 7 remaining games against them. Struck him out. Big punch out with the infield in. 2 outs, second strikeout.
Scott Feldman just kept climbing the ladder. You can see him working the top of the zone with both the cutter and the just 2-seam fastball. This one, a 2-seamer right there. As a left-handed hitter, you're getting pounded on with that cutter. Then you throw the one that sinks. It's tough to square up.
Now the rookie catcher John Hicks, 26 years old, started the bat. The appeal went down to first. Ted Barrett ruled he checked his swing, and it's ball 1 on Hicks. Hicks 1 for 5 as a major leaguer. He played at the University of Virginia, a 4th-round pick in 2011 by the M's. Started the bat there and checked it again. It's 2-0 on Hicks. Hicks got his first major league hit in his first at bat. Jose Quintana of the White Sox 2 days ago. Hit .245 at Tacoma. Upstairs, and it's 3-0. Marte on deck.
Hicks has thrown a lot of pitches.
Yeah, he has. So the pitch count already at 40 for Scott. In for a strike, and it's 3-1. Last time out, he was most efficient with the 8 shutout innings through 110 pitches. This is his 4th 3-ball count of the game so far. And now it's full. Inside for ball 4, and now runners are at first and third with 2 outs for Marte.
Almost looked like Hicks was ready to go back to the dugout.
Yeah.
Put his gear on. Get a second look at it. Good call. It did look like to me that it cut back over the plate. There's always that chance.
Yeah. Well, he had the 2 check swings that worked in his favor, and then he took a close one. Working the first walk of the night for Feldman, and bringing up Marte, grounded back to Feldman with a chopper off the plate. Feldman delivers, and there's strike 1 for Scott. And his 7 starts since he had the knee surgery and came back off the disabled list. He's gone 1-1 with a 2.36 ERA, 5 of the 7 have been quality starts. Time is called. Scott's trying to square his record at 6-6 lifetime against the Mariners. It's Chris Tillman going for Baltimore today against Tampa Bay, and Drew Smyly is shutting out the Orioles so far. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Rangers got shut out last night by San Diego. Tyson Ross with a fine game. They'll be playing later tonight. As will the Angels at Oakland. Swing and a miss. Stassi scrambles for it. 1-2. Well, we had a question on Twitter, how does Stassi throw? He throws pretty well.
Yeah, I think he's pretty good defensively. There he's getting some opportunities to block that baseball and keep the runner at third. Doing a good job at it too.
That's what he does. Gets down in the dirt. Hank Conger was the starter again last night. He homered. Runner takes off from first. That pitch is low. It's 2-2. And there's the stolen base for Hicks. First major league steal for Hicks. Marte looks at it, and it's now a full count. Feldman struggling to harness his stuff here in the second inning.
Hey, trying to pick out what's going on, but for whatever reason, the release point is not there for Scott Feldman. Struggling to find control, falling behind a lot of these Seattle hitters.
And he walks him to load the bases for Seager. Back-to-back walks. Seager single to right field in the first inning. Stassi goes out for a chat with the 32-year-old veteran right-hander. Feldman's had 4 straight quality starts, trying to get this start turned around right here, trailing 1-0. He's allowed 3 hits. He's walked 2. Seager takes it. There's ball 1. Nelson Cruz is on deck.
You throw a ton of pitches already. You might as well get out of this with minimal damage.
3 grand slams for Seager. That's not close, and it's 2-0 to Kyle Seager.
Yeah, good time for Brent Strom to come out. Even the veterans need a little pep talk every now and then. Some in-game adjustments, because right now it is not working for Scott Feldman. Since coming back from the DL, he's had his legs under him, being quite strong and able to throw downhill. Not tonight. New to Houston and looking to get to know the city better? With our Welcome to Houston package, we invite you to tour Minute Maid Park and enjoy an Astros game this Saturday. For tickets, visit astros.com/welcome to Houston or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Two 2-0 to Seager with the bases loaded and 2 outs. And it's 3 balls, no strikes. This is indeed a dilemma.
Sometimes when pitchers start throwing the ball up in the zone, they kind of drag that arm behind their body because they're rotating instead of throwing that front shoulder down towards the catcher.
In for a strike. 3-1, and Feldman is 6-7.
Yeah, that's a lot of moving parts. And the numbers at home this year are not that good. 5.16 ERA.
Ball 4 forces in the second run. A bases loaded walk to Seager. That's 3 walks in a row with 2 outs. Seager gets his 56th run batted in, and it's 2-0 Seattle.
Watch that front shoulder. You want to see it drive down, but you can see that elbow going towards first base and that front shoulder going towards first base. Sometimes that leads to the pitches being up in the zone, as opposed to if that front elbow was going towards the catcher and straight down towards the ground. Then that arm comes up over the top, throwing downhill towards home plate.
Curveball, strike to Cruz. Cruz struck out on a 3-2 offering in the first inning. Cruz hit .315 in August with 12 homers, 19 runs batted in. So a lot of solo homers for him in August, but now with 3 men on, he really presents a threat to give Seattle plenty of working room. Rich Donnelly, the coach, at third. And there is some early bullpen action for the Astros. Vince Velasquez in the air outside the right field line. 1-2. The Astros had 3 September call-ups today, so they've been reinforced by right-handed reliever Josh Fields, handyman Jonathan Villar, and lefty reliever Joe Thatcher, all joining the club, and more to come. Now, Velasquez is the long man in the bullpen. They did not call up anybody for that role because he's already here. And with 6 different pitchers who have been starting, they will have at times a starting pitcher in the bullpen available for long relief as they go through September. In the dirt. 2 balls, 2 strikes. So A.J. Hinch is not calling it a 6-man rotation because he will not go in order through the 6 pitchers. At times somebody may be skipped and in the bullpen for a turn through and then come out of the bullpen. Somebody else may replace him in the pen and be a long man.
Pretty unique and creative.
Yeah, he wants certain matchups, and he wants Dallas Keuchel and Scott Kazmir on regular rest. Bounce at third to Jed Lowry. And in the second inning, a Gutierrez homer, a Smith triple, set it up for a 2-run frame, and the Mariners lead it 2-0.
They both hit Elias well, so if there's any sign of hope for Astro fans and Scott Feldman, it's the fact these guys are in the lineup. Evan Gattis dropping bombs on him. Ronis Elias is making his third start here at Minute Maid Park. The two previous is when this duo did their magic, driving the ball the other way, seeing the ball quite well, and Elias is one of those guys in the league that is susceptible to the home run, and a good time for it right now.
Evan Gattis, 4 for 8 lifetime with a homer against Elias. Takes the fastball, and it's ball one. Gattis with 22 homers is tied for the club lead, and he is the RBI leader with 72. Current batting average .240 for Evan. He hit .318 on the last road trip. 1 for 3 with 2 runs batted in last night. 1 ball, 1 strike. He's driven in 15 this year against Seattle alone. Brent Strom talking with Max Stassi.
Stromy does it all. He's even telling catchers how to deal with pitchers. But again, Stassi making his first start of the year.
2 balls and a strike.
You know, and that could be a situation, you know, what did you see from Scott Feldman? Or it could be a situation where if you see this, this is how you counteract it, or maybe adjust to this.
Way outside, and it's 3-1 to El Oso Blanco. The big white bear. He got that name playing winter ball in Venezuela years ago. Three balls, 2 strikes to Gattis. Gattis has 20 homers or more in each of his first 3 major league seasons. Elias walks him, a leadoff walk, giving the Astros a good start here to the home second inning with Gomez to follow.
Have to start putting together good ABs. And you know Elias understands what Evan Gattis has done to him in the past. He wanted to be real careful. You saw changeups in that 3-1, 3-2 count.
Pretty night out there. Carlos Gomez is on a 6-game hitting streak. Gomez has gone 8 for 26 during the last 6 games. 211 as an Astro. 2 homers, 9 runs batted in for Gomez. And the fastball location is a problem for both of these starters here in the early pitches of the game. Toronto leads Cleveland 2-1. They're in the top of the 7th at Rogers Center in Toronto. Cody Anderson going for the Indians against Marco Estrada. A strike evens the count at 1-1 to Gomez. Seattle pitching staff weighs in with a 4.32 ERA, 12th best in the American League. Foul back. King Felix Hernandez is being skipped for this series. The Mariners did that last year, and he finished strong in September. Michael Brantley hit his 12th home run tonight for the Indians. Gomez swings and strikes out. Strikeout number 1 for Elias. Jed Lowry comes up.
It's a pretty good pitch from Elias. Carlos starts with that open stance, and we know from watching that that front hip is ready to open wide up, and sometimes when it does, tough to hold that swing up.
Lowry hit an opposite field homer last night. Jed at 226 has 6 long balls, 19 driven in. There's strike 1. He also had a double and drove in 2, going 2 for 4 in last night's game. Lowry snapped an 0 for 28 with the home run. Fouls that one back, and it's no balls, 2 strikes. Lowry is 7 for 11 against Seattle this season with a homer and 4 runs batted in. Jed has had only 38 at bats right-handed, but .316 is his average. With 4 homers in those 38 at bats, that makes his right-handed slugging percentage .737. He looks at ball 1, and it's 1-2. And he was joking about hitting a ball where nobody could make a play on him. He has been hitting in some tough luck.
He's been hitting the ball real well. It's good to see him driving the ball the other way, too.
Lowry moves back 2-2. And this is something that is not unusual at all. Lowry might fall behind in the count, but then protect that strike zone and work his way back into it. He's at 2-2 now.
He's definitely a guy that will grind out at bats.
He's a .307 career hitter against the Mariners. And he's worked his way back to a full count now. Elias with 27 walks in 87 innings, struggling to find that release point himself tonight. Colby Rasmus will be next. Lowry works a walk, and now the second walk of the inning gives Rasmus 2 base runners with 1 out.
Start, get some base runners out there. We know that Astros can drive the ball out of the ballpark. Now, if you get 1 out, you got a 3-run lead. I mean, a 3-run home run. You give yourself a lead right here.
Even though it's lefty on lefty, Rasmus is 2 for 5 against Elias with 3 runs batted in. And actually, left-handed hitters have done more damage against Elias with a .278 average compared to right-handers .242. The numbers on Rasmus include 17 homers, 46 runs batted in. Stassi's on deck. That's wide for ball 1.
4 of Colby's 17 bombs this year have been off left-handed pitching.
Last night a lefty started, Vidal Nuno. He was the loser in the 8-3 Houston win, going 6 innings, giving up 5 runs. To right field. Cruz backing. In for the catch and the throw to third on the tagging runner Gaddis, who will make it 2 outs.
Colby just missed that. Took a good pass at it. Get another look at it. See, just kind of a lazy fastball right down the middle, and Colby just a click under it.
Stassi's had one at bat since being promoted from AAA. And the 24-year-old catcher from Woodland, California, had 20 at bats last year in the big leagues. Career .321 average with 5 runs driven in. Marisnick is on deck. And strike one to Stassi. Stassi was hitting .211 for the Fresno Grizzlies. He had 13 homers for them and 43 runs batted in 84 games. In August, he stepped it up, .294 for Fresno that month with 3 homers, and he drove in 16. Tap foul, and it's an 0-2 count to Stassi. Fresno last night got his 80th win of the year. The club record is 81 for the Grizzlies. Tyler White hit 2 more homers. The Grizzlies have 7 games remaining before they start the playoffs. It's 1-1. GM Jeff Luhnow was saying tonight during batting practice the Astros could potentially have 7 teams going to the playoffs throughout their system this year.
Speaks very highly of the talent and the coaching staff. It's coaching staffs that are in the minor leagues for the Houston Astros.
And some of those coaches will be coming up here during September. Foul back. A.J. Hinch said he'd love to reward AAA manager Tony DeFrancesco and the AA manager as well, Rodney Linares. Perhaps they'll come up for a few days, but they're both going to be managing playoff teams, so that's all on hold for now.
You want to see them, but not too soon.
Yeah. It's really a nice reward for the guys who've done a lot of the hard work in the system this year.
It is.
Stassi lines one to right. That'll drive in a run to make it 2-1. RBI single for Stassi on a 1-2 pitch. Gaddis scoring. Lowry taking second.
Attaboy Stassi helping his pitcher out, Scott Feldman, getting one of those runs back, capitalizing on a couple walks in this inning. Again, a 2-out RBI with a runner in scoring position. This is a great at bat. He got fooled on a couple changeups earlier in that bat. And then we saw Elias try and pump a fastball inside. He fouled it off. But here hangs in nicely and stays through it going the other way. Good hands.
First hit for the Astros comes from the rookie catcher Stassi. And Marisnick will be next. Jake with 6 homers, 25 runs batted in, is hit .229, and he has 12 walks, 89 strikeouts this season. Jake was 0 for 3 last night. He's been playing a lot. Ball 1 down and in, so potentially it sounds like the earliest George Springer could return to the Astros would be Friday night against the Twins to reclaim his spot in right field. Foul back.
That would be great news for Astro fans.
George was a Double-A Corpus Christi. That club is now 83 and 50. Tremendous year for Rodney Linares, the manager of the year in the Texas League. In for a strike. That makes it 1-2 on Marisnick.
Tough pitch. Pitcher's pitch down the zone. Just tip your cap and live to fight another pitch. Hopefully he makes a mistake right here and Jake can take advantage of it.
He swings and misses. And the throw to first retires it by Hicks. 1 run, 1 hit, 2 men left. 2-1 Mariners after 2.
top of the third inning. Time now for the Toyota drive to the playoffs. Take a look at what's going on in the AL West for the Astros. They've got a 4-game lead with the Rangers losing last night in San Diego. The Astros picking up that big victory with Dallas Keuchel on the mound. Like to come back here and try and extend that and have the Padres pick them up again tonight. Angels falling behind also, 7.5 games back, the Houston Astros. But in that AL wild card, the Twins picking up a game on the Rangers. Things are getting a little tight in that area for the Rangers also as they try and sneak back into the West. They got to watch out what's behind them in the wild card.
Some youngsters enjoying the game tonight. 2-1. Seattle leads it coming up here after 59 pitches have come out of Scott Feldman's hand in the first 2 innings. He could use a quick one here in the third. Robinson Cano, the batter, he grounded out earlier. And that's strike one. The Mariners have seen a lot of Scott Feldman down through the years. This is his 29th career outing against them since he started pitching against them in 05. In for a strike, and it's 0-2. Well, ideally, a starting pitcher clips through the first few innings. 1-2-3, 1-2-3. But if not, that's where the needed adjustments come in. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
Yeah, make those adjustments quick.
You know, otherwise, you might not be able to make them.
Either that or you'd be up in the video room in the 4th inning trying to figure out what went wrong.
Yeah, can get out of hand in a hurry. Bounced on a hop. Lowry throwing. Perfect throw. On the run from the third base coaching box. Chest high to Marlon Gonzalez.
It's made that look like he's been playing third base all year long. These aren't easy plays. You're playing off the line. You get a ball chopped from a left-hander, but you see the good footwork, gets a good jump on it. Couple extra steps and got his head around, picked up his target, and watched the follow through after he throws it. Really releases and brings around that right side of the body to get that velocity behind the ball. Good job.
Franklin Gutierrez hit the homer in the 2nd inning. Strike 1 to him. That was leading off the frame too. It's been a fabulous run of starting pitching for the Astros, who have the 2nd best starters ERA in the American League, 3.59. That cutter missing. It goes to 1-1. Feldman has 4 straight quality starts. Dallas Keuchel has 6 in a row. Colin McHugh 5 straight. There's a swing by Gutierrez. It's 1-2. And in the month of August, the Astros had 22 quality starts in 28 games.
Wow. The numbers just keep getting better and better in that month. Feldman, be a shame if he came out of this game too quick. He averaged 6 2/3 innings pitched in that month of August.
Marlon Gonzalez, as the ball goes out of play, watched it fall into the hands of a fan. Still 1-2. Folks in Keuchel's corner had another great night last night as Dallas won his 16th of the year and went to 12-0 at home this year.
He's got 192 2/3 innings pitched on the season.
Yep.
He's going to far exceed what he did last year in the innings pitched department.
He really is, especially when you factor in possible postseason work. And tight, the fans wanted it. It's 2-2 to Franklin Gutierrez.
Bumgarner threw a ton of innings last year, and it seemed like he just kept getting stronger and stronger. But I think Keuchel's motion is so fluid and effortless for him that he could pitch for a long time.
Well, he had that bases loaded 4th inning moment with nobody out, and that's where the turnaround began. Well, Feldman left the bases loaded in the 2nd inning. Maybe he can have that same kind of a night, as the starting pitchers have to adapt to what's happening with the hitters, and that's what Dallas did so well. Foul ball. Yankees lead the Red Sox 2-1. They're in the bottom of the 7th already in Fenway. Michael Pineda started. He went 6 good innings for the Yankees. Rick Porcello's in there for Boston. I understand Mark Teixeira's leg is really causing him problems. That could be a big loss if he doesn't come around.
Oh, taking that bat out of that lineup would be real tough to lose for the Yankees.
He is not playing tonight. Greg Bird is in there. Teixeira was not running well when the Astros were in New York. This will be the 9th pitch to Gutierrez. He looks at it and it's ball 4. That's the 4th walk. And Seth Smith, who rifled a triple to right center field and scored, will be next.
4th walk on the day. Feldman had 5 total in the month of August. Still working on those mechanics.
Smith found a pitch he could drive and wound up at third base, from where he was able to score. The bases loaded walk to Seager. That's ball 1. Scott Kazmir works tomorrow night at 7:10 against Taijuan Walker. Thursday's a day off. A.J. Hinch will go with Colin McHugh Friday night against the Twins. Lance McCullers Saturday night. Dallas Keuchel on Sunday. And the throw goes over. Smith is 32 from Jackson, Mississippi. And for the Mississippi Rebels, he was Eli Manning's backup quarterback for 3 years and never took a snap. One way to keep yourself healthy for baseball.
It's a low stress position.
Foul back, 1-1.
There was a point when Seth Smith, who backed up Eli Manning, first baseman Todd Helton, backed up Peyton Manning in Tennessee. So they were teammates.
True.
Both backed up the Manning brothers in college.
Interesting. He bounces that foul. Well, if we would ask Seth Smith about hitting at Coors Field compared to hitting at Safeco Field, that would be an interesting answer, right? You're at opposite ends of the spectrum in those 2 ballparks.
That is so true. He also played at Petco Park too for a little bit with the Padres, so he's seen the good and the far.
Had 17 homers for the Rockies and 358 at bats in 2010. Inside to him, 2-2.
Granted, Feldman's been a little bit wild, but it looks like the way these Mariner hitters are taking pitches, they're seeing the ball pretty early out of Scott Feldman's hand.
And 3-2.
If you want to see a pitcher fighting himself, Scott Feldman is the picture of it right now.
Yeah. 77 pitches in. The Astros have their one remaining trip to Seattle, September 28th, 29th, and 30th. On that last road trip of the year, then they finish in Arizona. Runner takes off on 3-2, and it's ball 4. The 5th walk for Feldman. Since the break, the Astros pitching staff had walked 90, second best in the American League to the Blue Jays staff. Tonight, really something Scott didn't want to have to deal with, but he has to figure things out quickly if he's to stay in this game. The bullpen is busy again with Vince Velasquez, who was warming up earlier. And it's Mark Trumbo batting. Trumbo popped to second in the 2nd inning. Really a critical point in this game for the Astros starter. In for strike one. Astros 46-21 in this home ballpark. They have the top home winning percentage right now in the American League, 687. They've moved a little bit ahead of Kansas City. They've been going back and forth with the Royals for the best record for a few weeks now. 1-1 to Trumbo. Marlins lead the Braves at Atlanta 7-0. They're in the middle of the 7th inning. Justin Bour hit his 15th home run. Nicolino on the mound for Miami. The Braves really got walloped by the Yankees. They started Manny Banuelos tonight. He lasted 2 2/3, a former Yankee pitcher. It's 2 balls and a strike now to Trumbo. For the Astros, the last 12 home series have produced 10 series wins and 2 splits. They haven't lost one in a long time at home. If you're playing on the infield and the pitcher is struggling like this, how do you keep yourself alert, involved, and ready to make a play?
It is tough. You got to keep mentally focused by saying, what am I going to do when the ball's hit to me? You got to anticipate it, but at the same time your feet get a little bit heavy when you've been standing around this long. Everybody's different. Maybe jump around, get on those toes, but you got to make sure that you're ready for that ground ball.
Pop back off the screen, still 2-2.
That's sometimes the toughest play because you know that the pitcher's struggling and the ball may be a rocket right at you, but it is absolutely paramount that you make that play somehow, some way to pick up your pitcher.
So they move around between pitches.
And it's tough too because your mind starts to wander a little bit.
Fly ball. Gomez in center, moving over toward right center for the throw, but runners are not tagging. 2 outs. And Miller will bat. Yeah, they're fired up about going to school tomorrow.
I mean, who wouldn't be, Brownie?
Miller struck out on a 3-2 pitch in the 2nd inning. Phillies are pounding the Mets 14-4 in New York. They're in the bottom of the 6th inning.
Geez, they've been waiting all year to do that to the Mets.
Yeah, that's true. Strike for Miller. Well, the Mets have a pretty hefty lead right now on the Nationals, 6.5 games. The Nationals have the difficult assignment of playing the St. Louis Cardinals. AT Hinch is coming out now along with the trainer.
Oh man,
Nate Lucero. And Brent Strom is trailing them. It may have been something they had been discussing between innings that was bothering Scott Feldman.
that is not good. Moving that right shoulder.
Yeah, he motioned them out.
That's not good. I know it's been a rough night, but you would just hate for something to have happened on that last pitch right there for Scott Feldman. We had talked all year long about how healthy these guys have been. Feldman is the only guy to go on that DL. It was a meniscus issue that he corrected and came back from and has been pitching quite well since coming back, but rough day today. Could be compounded with an injury. Hopefully it's nothing major.
Vince Velasquez is coming in. It's 2-1. Seattle back in a moment.
Out of this game, and time now for our AT&T call to the bullpen. It is going to be a young right-hander, Vince Velasquez, with that electric fastball slider combination. Making his 13th appearance. He has 7 starts also under his belt. Looking to hold down this game right here and keep the Astros right where they are, or keep the Mariners right where they are at, in order to give that offense a chance to come back.
Big assignment for Vince, the native of Pomona, California. Inherits an 0-1 count on Miller. Runners at first and second, and 2 outs in the 3rd inning, trailing 2-1. Throws the slider, and there's a strike to make it 0-2 on Miller. Stassi comes right out.
You know what he's saying right here? He's going, man, that slider's a lot better than I remember.
Well,
good pitch, kid.
Probably is.
He got a little chuckle out of Vince.
Yeah, he's been working on that. When he was in Double-A Corpus Christi for a couple of weeks in the bullpens with Doug Brocail, the pitching coach. Vince worked a scoreless 8th inning on Sunday at Minnesota. That's line to left center field. In for a hit. That'll score a run to make it 3-1. The throw comes to the plate. Not in time. Good effort, though, by Gomez, as Miller delivered the RBI single, his 37th run batted in. Gomez made it close.
Yeah, he really did. He was aggressive going to get the baseball. Marwin Gonzalez was holding his ground at first base, deciding not to be the cutoff man. Now, how about Seth Smith not advancing to 3rd base? Kind of an interesting play all the way around, but Miller put a good swing on that fastball. Did a good job by Gomez getting that ball before the runner got to 3rd base. That's what made that play so close, but that second hop just took enough steam off it to allow Gutierrez to get in there.
3-1, and here's John Hicks with runners at first and second. Strike 1 to Hicks, who drew a walk earlier. Pitch in for a strike, makes it 0-2 for Vince Velasquez. Now, one thing he worked on at Double-A Corpus was avoiding throwing fastballs. His first pitch coming in out of the bullpen into the ball game.
It's good. It plants a seed in the hitter's head that he has those secondary pitches.
1-2.
If hitters know you don't have faith in that slider or changeup or whatever that pitch is, they're going to sit on that heater the whole time.
This is the 3rd stint with the Astros for Vince Velasquez. First came up June 10th. Foul ball makes it 1-2, and he was in the starting rotation. So the conversion to relief pitching was something that did require a little work.
Yeah, I think more often than not it's tough for those young kids who come up as starters and then get moved to that bullpen as the routine gets messed up a little bit, and then the ability to get loose quickly to come in and relief is tough.
Struck him out. 1 run scores on 1 hit with 2 men left. It's 3-1 Mariners.
on the pitting of Jose Altuve. He said it's fun to watch him when he's this hot. He went from 305 to 317 in a couple of days. Got 4 hits Sunday, 3 on Monday. It's unreal, you know. It's really fun to watch him play and be able to share the offensive part of the game with him. Altuve is a guy this team's feeding off of. A.J. Hinch said last night that a lot of guys have confidence, but Altuve has like an extra gear at times like this. He's got a knack. The hits he gets aren't always pretty. And sometimes they do have to work on his discipline because of his ability to hit so many different pitches. But this is one of those stretches where Astros fans just need to sit back and enjoy, guys.
Well, it's been a wild ride with Altuve now adding points onto his batting average. Correa has enjoyed the show. Jed Lowry was talking about Altuve before the game tonight, just marveling over what a good hitter he is. 45 hits in August, and that ties the club record set all the way back in August of 1970 by Jesus Alou.
My goodness, it's a good month.
That's as many hits as he had in May and June combined. 45 hits in a month. 161 hits. He now leads the American League. Can he get to 200? That would be 39 hits in 30 games.
Oh, for Jose, that's nothing.
3-0. Elias has walked 2. And now 3. Altuve takes the 4-pitch base on balls, his 29th walk of the year. And it's Marwin Gonzalez.
Altuve's going to go back and be bragging about that AB to A.J. Hinch. You see that, Coach? That just took 4 pitches. Doesn't happen too often.
No. Gonzalez grounded back to the pitcher. So Elias has been staked with this 3-1 lead. And he too has had problems coming into the strike zone. He's thrown 41 pitches so far. That is strike 1. Scott Feldman in 2 2/3 innings allowed 3 hits, 3 runs, walking 5 and fanning 2, and leaving with an injury. He threw 85 pitches, 44 strikes. Gonzalez takes it. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Astros finished August with a 15-13 record, so they've had at least a 500 record in all 5 months so far this year. Pretty consistent season.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing.
Marwin is laying off that outside pitch. It's 2 balls and a strike from Elias.
We talked about those records. Usually you have a young team like the Houston Astros. There's going to be some really good peaks, but there's going to be some valleys mixed in there. But I've been impressed with how they've been resilient with the fact that they really haven't had that major dip. Playing good, strong baseball, able to bounce back.
It's a shortstop feeding, and Marte gets the out to Cano. Altuve retired from 6-4 with a good play from Marte. We look at Correa's night last night.
It was a good one. You got to remember this kid had 4 days off. You know he was swinging a bat in the cage, not doing much running to try and preserve that hamstring. But man, did he announce his presence with authority when he came back last night. Base hit, and this one right here, a big time bomb. Much to the delight of Astro fans. Much to the delight of us. It's fun to watch.
Oh, yeah. Correa grounded out to third earlier. There's ball 1. Well, he's excited because his family's coming to town. And did you ever see that picture of him and all the stuffed animals he won
Yep.
at the Minnesota State Fair? Well, his 7-year-old sister is going to be receiving those stuffed animals.
She is going to be extremely excited about that.
2 balls, no strikes to Carlos Correa. Carlos Gomez there on the bench. Hoping Correa can hit the ball sharply and get something going for the Astros, who trail 3-1. Kind of a lethargic pace to this game with all the walks we've seen so far. And it's 3-0. And in a game that starts this way, is it more difficult when you come up to hit with your concentration?
It is a little bit, because you've got about a good half an hour, 45 minutes in between each AB. That's tough.
And for a strike, 3-1 to Correa.
But you know, we talked about how you can kind of be lulled to sleep out on the defensive side when the pitcher's not throwing a lot of strikes. The same thing can happen at home plate too. When you got a guy like Elias who's just nibble off the corner, you're sitting there trying to wait for a good pitch to hit, but he just brings nothing to you.
That comes in, and it's 3-2 now to Correa.
And then you see that right there. That's a 3-1 pitch. Pretty good pitch to hit for Carlos Correa.
True.
But it also might have been a case where he was looking on that outer third of the plate, kind of cross-fired. Doesn't mean you can't get the same pitch right here and put a good swing on it.
That's a shot to left center field. Correa with another bid for a long ball out there. This one bangs off the wall. And it's going to be a double. Correa getting Gonzalez to third on a deep drive to left center. That's his 17th two-base hit. Hit number 2 for the Astros.
Incredible. Got himself an off-speed pitch in that 3-2 count. Unfazed by it. Hands in a great position. Might have gotten it a little bit off the end of the bat because Elias pulled the string on it a little bit. But still, just a pure swing. Got to give Miller some credit too, having not played center field here at Minute Maid Park too much, trying to work around those funky corners in left center field. That's what held up Marwin Gonzalez from scoring on that drive.
Intentional walk ordered to Evan Gattis now to load the bases with 1 out for Carlos Gomez. Gattis walked and scored in the 2nd inning. This will be the 4th walk for Elias. The Astros have issued 5, so 9 walks total in the first 3 innings of the game. And Gomez will have a bases loaded 1 out opportunity. If you're Gomez, do you take this as a real challenge, a slap in the face? How do you take this?
No, it's a challenge. But you do take a little bit of offense to it. But that's what gives you that drive. Sometimes you get a little bit of that disrespect. It's how you channel it. Still got to keep control of it. We saw an episode in New York with Gomez being disrespected a little bit by the Yankees bench and turned around his next AB and hit a bomb. So hopefully right here he can rein it in a little bit, put a good swing on a good pitch.
1 grand slam in his career. He's 4 for 7 this year with that grand slam in bases loaded at bats.
Well, we know that Carlos Gomez loves the stage. He loves the spotlight. He wants it to be about him, and this is one of those situations where he can't make it about him.
He checked his swing. There's ball 1. Jed Lowry's on deck. Gomez struck out in the 2nd inning. This is his first game against Elias. Gonzalez, Correa, and Gattis are the base runners. In tight, and it's 2-0 to Carlos Gomez. Gomez has 9 runs batted in with the Astros. Before the trade with Milwaukee, he drove in 43 in 286 at bats. Foul back. 2 balls and a strike. With the Astros, Gomez has hit 300 with men in scoring position.
Good pitch to hit. Location right down Main Street.
Gomez drove in 73 last year for Milwaukee. And that ties his major league high. Not close. It's 3-1 to him. Gomez, 29 years old, from the Dominican Republic. And now the crowd is into it. Gomez fouls it back. 3-2 to Carlos.
You don't get too many chances to hit the same pitch twice in these at-bats with runners in scoring position. Those are two great pitches to drive with runners in scoring position. Bases loaded.
And that's the danger in the intentional walk, to load the bases.
It can be. Pitchers lose that release point, put a little too much pressure on themselves, trying to be too fine, and the pitch leaks out over the plate.
Hicks went out to talk with Elias. Gomez with a high fly ball. Marwin will tag. Smith with the catch. Throws into third. Marwin scores. Sacrifice fly. 3-2. Gomez drives in his 10th as an Astro.
Granted, we all want to be a little bit greedy and drive in all the runs with one swing of the bat, but that was a good job with 2 strikes to get that ball deep enough in the outfield to score Marwin. It was a pretty good pitch to hit again. The way Carlos Gomez opens up, he just missed that pitch. Still a runner at third base is how you got to approach that AB. Less than 2 outs, and he did a good job with it.
Jed Lowry walked on a 3-2 count in the second inning. Colby Rasmus is on deck. Ball 1 to Lowry. And that Phillies blowout, 14-5 of the Mets in the bottom of the 7th inning now at New York. Darren Ruff hit his 7th home run. Yoenis Cespedes hit number 9 for the Mets. John Neese started, gave up 6 earned runs in 5 innings. 2-0. The Mets are going to be going to a 6-man starting rotation in September, with lefty Steven Matz entering that rotation soon.
And I wonder if their young pitching staff has anything to do with that too. Maybe stealing a page out of the Astros playbook with those young arms, trying to give them a break on those innings that they pitch down the stretch.
Bouncer off the glove of Elias. He scrambles for it, tosses out of the glove, and retires Lowry. The Astros settle for 1 run on 1 hit. They leave 2, and through 3, it's 3-2 Mariners.
And it's time to play Name That Astro. It's brought to you by your local Honda dealer. Here are your clues for the day. Shares a major league milestone with his dad. He owns a first at a National League Central ballpark. And he was an average player for Mariners skipper now, Lloyd McClendon. Tweet us your best guess. Brownie, you're not allowed to play.
Jeez, that's not nice, Julia. You're making all the rules now?
Thanks, Debbie Downer.
Well, he knows the answer, I think.
Betty Buzzkill.
Ketel Marte leading it off here in the 4th inning. Takes ball 1. He is 0 for 1 with a walk. Scott Feldman left the game, we're told, with shoulder discomfort. Vince Velasquez came in. Here's the third batter he's facing. In for a strike. 1-1 to Marte, who was grounded out and walked. 4 hits for Seattle, 2 for Houston, 6 men left on base for the Mariners, 4 for the Astros. Outside for ball 2, and it's 2-1. Twins lead the White Sox 4-3. They're in the bottom of the 5th. Minnesota got 4 in the 2nd against Chris Sale. Tyler Duffy pitching for the Twins. 3 balls, 1 strike. So if the Twins stay on rotation, Duffy would be due to pitch here on Sunday. He's out of the game after 4 2/3. Foul back, 3 balls, 2 strikes. So yet more starting pitching problems for Paul Molitor with that Minnesota club. The bullpen has been holding things together, and they won 2 of 3 from the Astros over the weekend. Those games are going to be extremely important here this weekend. Not that any others wouldn't be, but with Minnesota in the wild card picture. That's a leadoff walk. Marte takes the 6th walk by Houston pitching tonight. And Seager will follow. Seager has a single and a bases loaded walk. And when the Rangers play the Angels this weekend, it's pretty much time for the Angels to get moving or drop way back, it would appear. There is some urgency to their situation. Seager pulls one and lines into a double play to Marwin Gonzalez.
Beauty. That's how you erase a leadoff walk. Just have him hit a scud right at Marwin Gonzalez at first base. Makes the catch, makes the tag.
Nelson Cruz bats. Cruz has struck out and grounded out. Astros have an all-time record against Seattle of 34-27. That's strike 1.
Slider's looking extra special for Vince tonight.
Yeah, you can tell by the swing of Cruz. Man, good sharp late movement.
Also, he's actually throwing a couple changeups too. So Vince Velasquez is bringing the entire arsenal out there, which is good to see.
Fastball inside, apparently. 1 ball, 1 strike. Moises Alou. Harold Ward.
Yeah, it seems to be a pretty consistent theme on my thread between those 2 guys.
1 and 2. Of course, both had major league fathers. So those folks are on the right track, but not everybody's right. Dexter Fowler's playing center field for the Cubs tonight. They trail the Reds 3-1 in the 6th. Cruz strikes out. Velasquez faces 3 in the 4th inning. 3-2 Seattle.
Astros win, you win. Every time the Astros win on a Tuesday, you get 50% off your pizza order on Wednesday at Papa John's. Use promo code Astros at papajohns.com. You'll see Max Stassi due up in this inning, and excited to be back with the club. It's been a while for him, seeing all these guys in spring training. As for his season down in Fresno, was not a good one offensively. He said he struggled early, even hit rock bottom at a certain point, was hitting 166 in June, but then started climbing his way back up, feeling much better about the way he was playing offensively, but defensively, he said, that's where I really wanted to improve. I really wanted to be ready when this time came, and he's really excited to work with some of the starting pitching that we've talked lots about this game, guys.
Thanks, Julia. He's on deck as Colby Rasmus leads it off. Strike one from Elias. Rasmus hit a fly ball to right in the second inning. 3-2 Mariners. And Marisnick will be due up third in the inning. Colby takes, and it's 0-2 to Rasmus. In Kansas City, it's Detroit 4, the Royals 2 in the bottom of the fifth. Justin Verlander going for the Tigers. On a foul tip, it's not held, so it's foul ball. Foul tip would be directly into the catcher's mitt, and he holds it. So technically, that's not one.
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, because, you know, some people like that.
Oh, you've got to clarify these days.
1-2. Kendrys Morales hit his 16th homer for Kansas City. That's strike three called. Strikeout number 3 for Elias.
Painted on that outside corner. Doesn't get much better than that. As a hitter, you see that pitch coming in, you give up, and you just hope the umpire misses it.
Max Stassi drove in a run with a single with a 1-2 count and 2 outs in the second inning. In for a strike, 0-1 to Stassi. Astros, a Greenville minor league affiliate, can clinch a playoff spot tonight with a win or a loss by Elizabethton. 1 ball, 1 strike. Checking some numbers today. A.J. Reed combined between A and AA, 346, 33 homers, 120 runs batted in, 109 runs scored, an OPS of 1,059. Marte, 2 outs. What a year for A.J. Reed. J.D. Davis, 373, 26 homers, 100 runs batted in for Lancaster. An OPS of 907. Big year for him.
You kidding me with the OPSs these guys are putting up?
Yeah.
Some production.
Eye-popping. Jake Marisnick struck out in the second inning. The Astros announcing their Arizona Fall League rosters today, along with all the other teams. Marisnick grounds 1 foul. They strike 1. Reed will be going to the Arizona Fall League, as will Tyler White. Oh, let's see. That's another list. J.D. Davis is going. Chan Moon and Derek Fisher. Those are the Arizona Fall League players. There had been some rumors, though, that White might be working on learning to catch. No balls, 2 strikes. He's had a big year since he was promoted to AAA Fresno. Drive by Marisnick will tie this ball game. 3 threes. He bangs one high off the wall above the Landry's Crawford boxes. 0-2 pitch, number 7 for Marisnick, and it's even Steven now.
Yikes. Jake Marisnick laying into that one. Gosh, that was a good looking quick bat from Jake Marisnick. Going down to get this slider. Big man with nice quick swing directly to that baseball. Loves hitting off of Elias.
Altuve taking ball one. Marisnick unloading for the first time since the Dodgers were here August 21st. 29 at bats ago. That's 7 for him. Altuve bounces one up the middle, and he will join the hit club. 7-game hitting streak for Jose. Hit number 162 for the AL leader. Now the Astros go for the lead with Marwin Gonzalez coming up.
Tell you what, with the way this game started out, if you looked at some of the numbers that we've been looking at throughout the course of the game, it's pretty impressive that the Astros tied this ball game up. But hopefully that home run from Jake Marisnick awakens that bat rack and these guys start to unload.
They have some energy going their way now. Each club with the same line score, 3, 4, and 0. Marwin's 0 for 2. He scored a run. Line drive right field. Carrying out to Cruz. And in the 4th inning, Marisnick ties it with number 7. It's 3-3 after 4.
Astros baseball offers incredible savings such as the all-you-can-eat seats at Minute Maid Park. This great deal scores you a ticket and unlimited ballpark favorites every game starting at $35. For more information, visit astros.com/value or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
A 3-3 ball game. The roof is rolling back here. The rain apparently has moved through the area now. The plan was to have the roof open for this game, but it's just now opening as Vince Velasquez works the 5th inning. To Robinson Cano. Cano is 0 for 2, 2 ground outs. There's ball 1. Brewers lead the Pirates 5-1 in Milwaukee. We're in the top of the 6th inning. Jimmy Nelson pitching for Milwaukee. Velasquez throws in. It's 2-0. Garrett Cole's on the mound for the Pirates. He's been tagged for 8 hits and 5 earned runs in 4 innings. Foul back. 2 balls and a strike. The Astros calling up 3 players today, September call-ups. There will be more, but they won't all arrive at the same time. They'll come as needed. Probably Preston Tucker tomorrow, because that would be the end of the 10 days required for him to stay in the minors after he was optioned there.
There's some wacky rules going on regarding who gets called up, how, when. Do they make playoff rosters?
Yeah. Line shot up the middle. Diving Correa. Robbing Cano with a dive up the middle.
This guy's got a future. About took the head off Vince Velasquez, and right behind him is Carlos Correa with that shift on, laying out to save his pitcher.
Quick move to the left, and then the stretch by Correa took care of out number one in spectacular fashion. Gutierrez has a homer, a walk, and 2 runs scored now. That's ball 1 up and in.
Good look at the footwork and keeping his head on a swivel, keeping his eye on that ball the whole way into his glove.
Fastball hit to shallow right center field. That's looping and in front of Carlos Gomez for a 1-out single by Gutierrez on the broken bat.
Time out for the Whataburger, what a plays. There's going to be some good defense shown on this. This was early in the season. Fantastic backhand flip from Correa. From Altuve. You saw Chris Carter with that diving play out there in Detroit. How about Marwin Gonzalez, the guy who can play all over the diamond? This guy, Luis Valbuena. Good footwork, good strong arm. This was the beginning of it all. Carlos Correa elevating against Mike Zunino to take away a base hit. Just good stuff. Even dressed it up at the end with the little Michael Jordan move.
Seth Smith, the batter. There is strike one. Smith has a triple and a walk tonight. So the Astros are 4th in the majors in defensive runs saved with plays like that. They have really supported their pitching staff. Among the best teams in baseball.
Yeah, the defense has been superb, and I think that kind of relaxes the pitching staff a little bit, knowing that they can be pitching a little more in the zone, pitching to contact.
0-2. According to Fangraphs, the Astros have saved 27 runs defensively. Kansas City at the top. Arizona second. Miami third.
A lot of shifting involved in taking away some of those runs.
Yes. And looking back at the Correa diving play up the middle, that ball was blistered. That's a hit 3 years ago, probably, before teams started repositioning their players so much, and got to be such a lift for the pitcher. The other thing, too, as you well know, Blummer, is it helps to have athletic players, even when they're shifted. And it might not be that far to go as it would have been had they not been shifted. They still can really help out of those shifts if they're athletic and quick to the baseball.
No, athleticism is a huge bonus. The Astros pretty well have that covered with the defensive alignment they have out there today with Marwin at first base.
Smith swings at it and strikes out. Number 3 for Velasquez.
Because if you think about it, Jed Lowry's a shortstop playing third, so there's 4 middle infielders playing defense right now in the infield for the Houston Astros.
Excellent point. Shortstop there. Shortstop Correa. Second base Altuve. Shortstop playing first. Mark Trumbo is 0 for 2. Ball 1. Manny Machado, who was a shortstop in the minor leagues, got his first ever major league start at shortstop last night. He had been a third baseman ever since arriving in the big leagues. As far as being a starter, he might have played some innings over there late in the game. First start at short. J.J. Hardy is injured right now. 2-0.
Yeah, Manny Machado's a great athlete. Made a great play over there, too, going into the hole.
He really did.
You know, the arm strength is there. He's shown that off plenty of times at third base.
It's a beautiful ballpark with the roof open. 2 balls and a strike. Down through the years since this park opened in 2000, the pitchers have not been as fond of pitching here with the roof open. It's warmer and the ball carries better.
You get that
At least a little bit of breeze.
Yeah, the breeze usually blows out to left center. There's a high shot to left center field. That's going to be up near the train. That is a massive long ball. It hits off the train, and it's 5-3 Seattle. Trumbo hitting number 11. That's as a Mariner, a number 20 this year overall.
My goodness, that ball was belted. Third home run in 2 games for Mark Trumbo here at Minute Maid Park. That train has been taking a beating. That's just a center cut fastball. You got Vince Velasquez velocity. And add that to Trumbo's powerful swing. That's what the result.
Brad Miller will be next. He has an RBI single in 2 trips. Five to 3. That one estimated at 442 feet. One and one. Wonder if Bobby Dynamite can back that one up behind the roof.
Put it in the garage and hide it for a little bit.
Yeah. The train is becoming a target in this series.
Sure has.
One ball, 2 strikes. And a freewheeling type of affair. The Astros have been playing a series of lower scoring games for the last few weeks now. This one's definitely a breakout from that pattern. Gomez backs on it to the warning track. On number 3, 2 runs on 2 hits. Trumbo crushes one, and it's 5-3 Mariners. West Airlines. Book your low fare now at southwest.com. 5-3 game here in Houston. Roenis Elias still on the mound, and now he's been backed by the go-ahead 2-run homer from Mark Trumbo. He comes out now for the bottom of the 5th inning. The Astros trying to answer with Correa, Gaddis, and Gomez due up. 2 long balls by the Mariners, 1 by the Astros tonight. And 6 hits for Seattle, 4 for Houston as we go to the bottom of the 5th. Correa has 1 of those hits, a double to left center in the 3rd inning after grounding out to 3rd in the 1st. There's a strike to Correa. Correa has certainly made a difference to the Astros with his production in the number 3 spot in the lineup.
Highly productive.
.521 slugging percentage coming into this game. .349 on base average for Carlos. It's 1-1. So there are the games with Correa, 49, and his numbers, and those with others and those numbers.
It's incredible. Half the games almost putting up equal or much better numbers. And A.J. Hinch, when Carlos Correa got called up, he was kind of half joking, half serious when he said to me, how many games do you think before I could move Carlos Correa into that 3-hole? And now you can see why he wanted to do it so quickly. The kid has just been tearing it up.
Flares that one foul, stays alive at 1-2. Two balls and 2 strikes. 83 pitches for Elias. Now it's 3-2, and the Astros hitters have indeed worked the count very well on him tonight. He went 6 2/3 innings in his last start, needing 96 pitches to get that far. That's just foul. Hernandez, the third base umpire, on the call. Fouled straight back by Carlos. Nationals 4, Cardinals 3, bottom of the 5th inning in St. Louis. This will be the 9th pitch coming to Correa. Ryan Zimmerman hit his 14th home run. Ground ball, Cano, it comes up around hip level, and he adjusts to that and makes the throw. 1 out. Ball hit pretty sharply.
That was good AB. 10 pitches in that at bat. Saw a little bit of everything and hit the ball hard too. Kind of jumped on Cano. Might have been a little bit tougher play if it hadn't hit the side of the mound.
He looks so casual, but he is a tremendous athlete. He just makes plays look easier.
I think he enjoys making tough plays look easy.
Evan Gattis has walked twice. There's strike 1 to Gattis. He should see something to hit here. He got an intentional walk in the 3rd inning. It's 1-1. Elias has made more mistakes this season than last year with his fastball. Home runs are up against him. He's allowed 12. And he's just about at the 90 inning mark for his major league season. 2 balls and a strike. The Astros have 26 wins in games started by lefties against them. Tops in the majors. Out of play, and it's 2-2. They're 26-21. They will face the hard-throwing young right-hander tomorrow night, Taijuan Walker. He has really pitched some good games against the Astros in his career, which hasn't been very long. He's 23 here in another week or so. 3-2 to Gattis. Luis Valbuena there with a bat on the bench. And the at-bat continues for Gaddis. That's the other thing. Not only are the Astros working some 3-2 counts, they have several of them tonight, but fouling off pitches to make the Mariners think about going to the bullpen. 93 pitches in for Elias. Mariners had some call-ups today too. To right field, backing up Cruz a few steps. 2 outs. And Carlos Gomez, who is 0 for 1 with a sac fly, will follow. Jed Lowry's on deck. Rockies lead the Diamondbacks 3-1. They're in the bottom of the 5th inning in Colorado. Kyle Kendrick started for them, but he was gone after 4. Ruby De La Rosa for Arizona. Ground ball hit to Trumbo, and that's a 1-2-3 5th. Elias and the Mariners lead the Astros through 5-3.
Fan of the game. I've got a couple of guys with me. It's Alex and Ian. You guys are from Magnolia, and I hear you've had a pretty special night. What makes tonight so special?
Probably the ball I got signed by Carlos Correa. Yeah,
that's pretty cool. What's your favorite part of the game so far?
I like whenever Marisnik got that home run because it's tied the game, and then unfortunately they got a few runs, but hopefully they can catch up. And I also liked when Correa caught that line drive.
That was a good play. And you have a ball signed by Carlos Correa too. This has been a pretty good night for these two right here, except for you almost lost your ball. Make sure to hang on to that.
Yeah, and whenever it was batting practice, Nelson Cruz gave me this ball. So.
He gave you the ball, but Carlos signed it. Okay, well, that's all that matters is Correa's autograph is on that ball. Brownie, up to you. These guys are having too much fun.
Yeah, that's a good one to have. Thank you, Julia. Yeah, they look like they are enjoying it tonight. 1 ball, 1 strike as John Hicks leads it off here in the 6th inning. 5-3 Mariners. That goes out to Carlos Gomez. 1 down. The Mariners got 2 in the 2nd. The Astros answered with 1. And then a single run in the 3rd put Seattle up 3-1. Houston pecked away with a run in the 3rd inning on a sac fly. Tied it on the Marisnik homer, as that young man told us, in the 4th inning. And then the 2-run homer by Trumbo broke the tie in the 5th. Now here's Marte. He's 0 for 1 with a couple of walks tonight. Is late on the fastball at 94. There's strike 1.
Those kids don't know it. They're having a blast right now, but getting that Carlos Correa signature on there, they're going to take it home, and the parents are going to put it in a safe deposit box. It's going to be their college tuition.
Yeah. No balls, 2 strikes. In 10, the Blue Jays beat the Indians 5-3 in Toronto. Mark Lowe the winner. And he beat Brian Shaw. Ryan Goins hit the game-winning homer, his 5th of the year. In the dirt, and it's 1-2. Toronto began the night a game and a half in front of the Yankees. Yankees beat Boston 3-1, so that margin remains intact. Fouled away by Marte. Michael Pineda was the winner for the Yankees, going to 10-8. He beat Rick Porcello for the Red Sox. Andrew Miller got his 29th save. Brett Gardner hit his 13th homer. Marwin Gonzalez takes the grounder and takes it to first base. 2 outs. Kyle Seager will follow. Seager has a single to right, a bases loaded walk, and a line drive into a double play.
If his brother Corey's going to get a look out there in LA.
I was just going to ask you about him. He's a 6'4" shortstop. And we haven't seen whether he's one of these September call-ups or not.
Ooh. That was a good pitch by Vince right there.
Yep.
No time to tighten up the zone back there.
Ball 1. Jimmy Rollins is due to be a free agent at the end of this year.
So next year might be his shot, but that's a darn good pitch. You got to be calling that.
In for a strike, and it's 1-1. It's got to be tough for a guy like Seager to be waiting for his opportunity, right?
Oh, it's got to be extremely tough. We can go down and talk to George Springer about that too, but out there in those big market teams like the Dodgers, Red Sox, Yankees, they're going to go out and get free agents before they call those kids up.
Rasmus back in left to end the top of the 6th inning. 5-3 Seattle.
At the plate, who snapped an 0 for 28 with a tie-breaking homer. What a frustrating stretch for him, but to come up big in last night's game, not just with the home run, but also doubled, and then he hit an RBI fielder's choice. He actually took a mental day off just a couple of days ago. Just take a break, get away. It's tough for a hitter like Jed Lowry, just because of the style hitter that he is, a contact guy, to go that long of a stretch without a hit, not being productive, but broke out of it last night, and hopefully it's something you can carry on through September, guys.
Thanks, Julia. He leads it off here in the home 6th inning. He is 0 for 1 with a walk. Michael Guaipe warming up in the bullpen. So with the pitch count having reached 95 by Ruenis Elias, Lloyd McClendon is poised to bring in relief help should he falter with his 5-3 lead. There's ball 1 to Lowry. George Springer is 1 for 4 so far tonight for Corpus Christi. That hit a double, and he also has drawn a walk. Ground ball up the middle. Cano can't make the pickup to the backhand side, and Lowry this time is able to reach. Last time he smashed it off the pitcher's glove, and Elias was able to get him out. This time Cano unable to make that play on a hard hit grounder.
This one kind of jumps, creates that big hop off the mound. It's a tough hop to read as an infielder. You can see him trying to backhand swipe on that short hop, unable to come up with it.
Lowry reaches, leading it off for Rasmus now. Rasmus has a fly ball to right and a strikeout looking. There's strike 1. Still waiting for a ruling on that last play. Now Springer now has gone 1 for 4 in each of his 3 games for Corpus Christi. Still in there, still playing in the top of the 7th inning now. The plan was for him to play the entire game tonight. Foul back. No balls, 2 strikes. And it is ruled a hit now for Jed Lowry. Hit number 5 for the Astros. Max Stassi's on deck. Rasmus is down on strikes. Strikeout number 4.
Kick off your weekends at Minute Maid Park with the best Friday night fireworks show in town, presented by Marathon Oil Corporation. The next fireworks spectacular is this Friday when the Astros take on the Twins. For more information, visit astros.com/fireworks or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Lloyd McClendon is making a move to the bullpen. It's 5-3 Seattle. Back in a moment.
Tomorrow's pitching matchup is brought to you by Chevron. They want you to care for your car. It's going to be a good one. Scott Kazmir pitching well with the Houston Astros. His home city, and that electric right arm of Taijuan Walker having himself a pretty good season also. The numbers don't dictate it, but he is a high strikeout guy. Should be a good 3rd game of this series between the Mariners and Astros.
Here in game 2 with this pitching change, right-hander Michael Guaipe has come out of the bullpen. This is his 4th stint with the Mariners this year. And with an 0-3 record, 1 hold and a 7.07 ERA. He inherits a runner at first and 1 out, facing Max Stassi. Guaype is from Venezuela. He's 25 years old. Strike on a breaking pitch to Stassi. Guaype was at Double-A Jackson last year with a 2.89 ERA in 40 games, had 12 saves. The Mariners bullpen has a 4.41 ERA. Stassi swings and falls behind 0-2. 20 blown saves for the Mariners. 58 opportunities.
It's not good. Their bullpen last year was extremely good. The guy they released this year at Fernando Rodney had 48 saves.
Stassi's down on strikes. 2 outs. 5th strikeout for Mariners pitching. Marisnick follows. 18,157 to paid attendance tonight. $1 hot dog night tomorrow.
Big night.
Always big on Wednesday night. Marisnick tied at 3-3 with his 4th inning homer on the 0-2 count. He struck out his first time up. Guaype lost back-to-back games. July 6th and 8th against Detroit as far as his appearances went. Marisnick with strike 1. Put the bunt down. Altuve's on deck.
Man, they're already cooking them up and getting them ready for tomorrow.
They look delectable. Marisnick looks at it. It's 1-1 for Jake. Guaype at Tacoma had a 3.02 ERA in 34 games. So Elias is qualified for the win tonight by going 5 1/3. 2 balls and a strike. He threw 100 pitches, 58 for strikes. The appeal went to first. Check swing call by Ted Barrett. 3-1 to Marisnick.
Borderline.
Full count, and now Lowry will take off on the next pitch. Trumbo plays behind him. 3-2 pitch, ground ball into center field. Lowry turns for third. Marisnick keeps it going with a 2-out, 2-strike single. His homer came with 2 outs on an 0-2 count. Good 2-strike hitting tonight by Marisnick.
Really was already a home run on the night for him. 3-2 count, guessing fastball, doesn't try to get too big, going for that second ball, just decides to shoot it back up the middle. Had that batting average a little bit, and again, base runners for these Houston Astros, hopefully to get something out of it here with 2 outs.
Lloyd McClendon is coming to the mound. Altuve singled in the 4th inning. He's 1 for 2 with a walk. There's nobody the Astros would rather have at the plate right now than Altuve. Not only the number of hits he's collected, but he's hitting .333 with men in scoring position. Jed Lowry was talking about him before the game, about how terrific he is at getting the bat on the ball no matter where the pitch is, and getting hits of all varieties. The hits just pile up from Altuve's bat. He's hit .330 in his career against the Mariners. Logan Kensing is warming up in the pen, a right-hander for Seattle. Ball one in the dirt. .34 come from behind wins for the Astros this year. In for a strike, and it's 1-1. Well, they had the magic going on the last homestand. They had 4 walk-off wins in the 10-game homestand last time around, going 7-3. Runner takes off. There's a hit into right field. That'll score a run to make it 5-4. Scoring Lowry, Marisnik dodged that base hit, and Altuve gets his second hit of the night, giving him his 55th run batted in. 1-run game.
He's such a good hitter. You probably recognize that hole that Mariners were giving him on the right side, waiting for a pitch he could go with over there. Finally gets that pitch because you saw the fastball in. He took it. He's a little more patient with guys in scoring position and understands how to use all the field.
And Marisnik's long strides carried him around to third base, much to their delight. Now 5-4 is the score. And Marwin Gonzalez will try to do some damage. Marwin's 0 for 3. That's 7 hits for the Astros, 6 for the Mariners. And Altuve has attracted some attention. He's
Like
stolen 35 bases.
Fans are getting into it, Browning.
They are.
They recognize it.
Good time. It seems, and this may not be true, certainly is not true for playoff games, and when the roof is open, there's a little more energy in the building. But when there's a capacity crowd and the roof traps the noise, try to play in that if you're a visitor. Didn't stop you a whole lot, but nonetheless, players from other teams say that it's very hard for them to concentrate.
No, that was a big deal, and sure for you guys in the playoff. Every time there's been a playoff game here at Minute Maid is keeping that roof closed because that noise can be deafening. It affects opposing teams.
Runner goes, pitch out. Here's a throw from Hicks. It sails into center field, and the game is tied. Marisnik scores on the overthrow, and Altuve, who makes something happen, gets into third. He drove in the 4th run, and then his steal forced the error that allowed the 5th and tying run to score.
Considering the situation, that throw was atrocious from Hicks. The pitch out is what you want. They guessed right. White Bay gives him a good pitch to throw on. Maybe didn't have a grip on that because that ball was going into center field right out of his hand. Astros making things happen. They get the base hits. They have the long ball, but now speed creates a situation on defense. Constantly putting pressure on the other team, forcing them to make plays.
Marwin Gonzalez pops it up. Marte out. He's called off. Smith with the play. But the Astros hustle their way to 2 runs on 3 hits with 1 error and 1 left. And we get a fresh start for the 7th. It's 5-5 through 6.
time to name that Astro. Brought to you by your local Honda dealer. Here are your clues. Sharing a major league milestone with his dad. Played under Lloyd McClendon. We asked you to tweet in some of your guesses. Here's one. Darryl Ward, I think, was the first lefty to homer out of PNC Park in Pittsburgh into the water. Well, Darryl Ward is correct. Nice job. He and his dad, Gary, are the only father-son combination to ever hit for the cycle. And then he was the first to ever hit the ball into the water at PNC Park and eventually on the fly at PNC Park in Pittsburgh. And, of course, played under Lloyd McClendon, guys.
Thank you, Julia. Very interesting to have that kind of a question. There's a strike on Cruz. Cruz leads it off here in the 7th inning. Darryl Ward was a powerful hitter. I think a lot of his teammates really expected him to explode on the major league scene. He never really did. He had some solid years, though. Tap to first. Velasquez running over, but Marlon Gonzalez takes it to retire Cruz. Out number 1. Velasquez has retired 5 in a row after the homer by Trumbo made it 5-3 Seattle, and the Astros just keep coming back tonight. But that's what they do, Blummer.
They have the offense to do it, and they have been swinging the bats well of late. It's good to see them turn around and pick up their pitchers, because the pitchers have been picking them up for a very long time.
Excellent point. Lefty Joe Thatcher is tuning up in the bullpen with Robinson Cano, the batter. He's 0 for 3. Cano looks at ball 1. Texas leads at San Diego. It's 2-0 now in the early going. They're in the middle of the 2nd inning. Giovanni Gallardo pitching against Andrew Kashner. Prince Fielder hit his 18th homer, and that was a 2-run shot in the 1st inning off Kashner. Astros have a 4-game lead on the Rangers, who are leading for the 2nd wild card spot in the American League. Foul back. 2 balls and a strike. The Astros really have 2 shots at a playoff spot, the AL West division title, or if they can't get that, a wild card spot. They really don't want to hear about the 2nd.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, do they party for the playoff clinch, or do they party for the AL West? I'm expecting it to be the latter.
Exactly. 3 balls and a strike. It's such a difference, although last year it wasn't, because Kansas City was a wild card team, and so was San Francisco, and they both played in the World Series. But such a disadvantage to be the wild card team, because the 2 wild cards play each other in a 1-game playoff. So putting everything on 1 game.
Yeah, and that's the problem, is it messes with how you want to set up your rotation. You hope that you have some powerful arms. That's where the Astros might be at an advantage, being able to throw a guy like Dallas Keuchel. If it so happened that they became a wild card team, they could throw Dallas Keuchel in that wild card and then have some of these other pitchers in this strong rotation they have back him up as they start the ALDS.
Fastball fouled away by Cano. He hangs in at 3 balls, 2 strikes. Well, the Astros are currently 5 games ahead of the Twins. That's why this weekend series is meaningful. People want to know, what is the Astros' magic number? It's 28, but it's a little early for that.
Just a bit.
Fouled away. So the magic number tells you that a combination of the first place team's wins and the closest pursuer's losses, totaling 28, would mean the first place team clinches. Still a lot of wins and losses needed to celebrate.
Plenty of work to be done.
Oakland got a run in the 1st and leads the Angels 1-0 in the bottom of the 2nd inning against Matt Shoemaker. Brad Lowry hit his 14th. That's a walk to Cano, a 1-out base on balls. Darrell Ward into the Allegheny River.
I was hanging out on the bench that day. That's me putting my batting gloves on back there as Darrell Ward launched that one deep into the night. And it was just a sense of awe. We all kind of looked at each other like, did that just happen?
Massive blast at PNC off Kip Wells. Franklin Gutierrez has a homer and a single to go with a walk. A perfect night so far. And there's ball one. Stassi sliding on his knees. Will Harris is working in the Astros bullpen. 59 pitches have come out of the hand of Vince Velasquez. It's 2-0. He's really helped bridge the gap. He's been the type of pitcher a manager hopes the long man will be. He did give up an RBI single when he came into the third inning, inheriting 2 runners and then a 2-run homer in the 5th. But his club squarely in this game, tied at 5 as he tries to negotiate his way through the 7th inning, keep it tied, and then that's probably looking like it's going to be it. That's not it for that spread, though. Still a lot of eating to do out there.
Kind of like this game is taking its beating, but there's still plenty out there.
Swing and a miss by Gutierrez. That makes it 2-1. Well, sometimes you have to go for the whip, and somebody out there might have to do that, Plummer.
Hey, team players everywhere.
You know, doctors recommend eating about every 3 or 4 hours. Foul ball makes it 2-2. Celery, that is.
The appropriate vegetables.
What a big matchup tonight in Los Angeles. San Francisco and Los Angeles, those bitter rivals down through the years. And it's Madison Bumgarner and it's Zach Greinke. 0-0 in the bottom of the 2nd inning. Well, the Astros were among the select few teams to win games back-to-back against the Dodgers. Started by Greinke and Kershaw. Last homestand. Grounded wide of third base. It's only been done 4 times.
Yeah, that's not an easy feat.
This role of long man can be really difficult. The Astros starters have been going deep into games. 13 straight games of at least 6 innings. Upstairs 3-2, so it's wait, and he did get the 1 inning appearance in Minnesota, and he got a couple of innings at Yankee Stadium in New York, but this time he stretches it out. And maybe a little fatigue taking hold after the 64th pitch. Runner going for first, swing and a miss. Stassi's throw. Altuve has it waiting for a strikeout throwout. Double play on Cano. There's the arm of Stassi. And the double play is the 2nd of the night for the Astros, sending this game to the bottom of the 7th inning. Somebody asked about his arm. It's on display, and it's 5-5.
40th home run, setting the major league record for most homers by a shortstop. Mr. Cub finished with 44 dingers in 55 and would break his own record with 48 homers in 1958. Let's play 2.
Let's do a little comparison. Hall of Famer there. Let's compare him to somebody you know. Carlos Correa, after his first 69 Major League games. There's the comparison with Ernie Banks. Very favorable. Yeah. Only 8 errors for Correa compared to 21 for Banks, who later played a lot of first base.
And I'm giving Ernie Banks a pass on those 21 errors. Having played in Wrigley before they leveled that thing out, that could be a treacherous track to try and play on.
One of our longtime cameramen, Kim Elston, on the right, pictured with Ernie Banks.
How about that?
Gene Elston's son, Kim, around the batting cage.
That's kind of cool right there.
The Chicago Cubs were the first team ever to play Major League Baseball against the Colt 45s in Houston on opening day, 1962. Now it's Carlos Correa. There's Kim Elston getting a shot as Correa faces the newcomer Logan Kensing just in the game, throwing strike 1. Correa doubled in the 3rd inning. Carlos 1 for 3 tonight. Guaipe in 2/3 of an inning allowed 2 hits, 1 run. It was not earned with no walks and 1 strikeout. Comebacker to Kensing. 1 out in the 7th. Evan Gattis will follow. Kensing is from San Antonio, lives in Boerne, Texas, and went to Texas A&M. Went to high school in Boerne. In 4 games with Seattle this season, he has a 7.94 ERA. Began his career with the Marlins, who drafted him in the 2nd round in 2003. Gattis has walked twice and flied to right. He looks at strike 1. Guaipe threw 14 pitches, 9 were strikes. One and 1. Gomez is on deck. Twins lead the White Sox 6-5 in Minnesota. They're in the bottom of the 8th now. That's whacked into the seats. 1 and 2 to Evan Gattis.
It's been a quiet night for Evan. They've been pitching around him for the most part. 2 walks.
Yep. Worked the count to 3-2 last time up and hit the fly ball to right. Hit it pretty well. Miguel Sano has connected again for the Twins, his 14th of the year. He'll be here this weekend, and he is one of the top young hitters in the majors. Very good-looking young player. Popped up and foul ground. Here comes the first baseman Trumbo. 2 outs. Carlos Gomez is 0 for 2 with a sac fly. Well, Paul Molitor is going to the whip again tonight. Tyler Duffy started. He's used Neil Kotz, Casey Fiend, Trevor May, and Kevin Jepson. He really has little choice, but you'd have to think it might catch up with the Twins at some point, right?
Yeah, bullpen getting abused.
One thing is September call-ups have arrived, though. Bunted. Fair-handed by Kensing. He throws late. And it's a bunt hit for Gomez. And a 7-game hitting streak for Carlos now. Well placed.
Well placed, well timed. Off to the races. Right-hander falling off towards that first base side. Wasn't exactly a perfect bunt, but you combine the right-handed pitcher falling off towards first base, having to make that play, and Carlos Gomez's speed. That accounts for him being safe.
That was a long leap to the bag.
It was a big one.
As you saw in that slow-mo, Kensing had to barehand it. He didn't seem to have it firmly in his hand at first. Now Jed Lowry, who's 1 for 2 with a walk, will try to get Gomez around. Rasmus is on deck. It's hit number 8 for the Astros. Gomez may be running too. Time call.
Yeah, there's a good chance he's going to be hyper aggressive over there or just hold his ground.
6 stolen bases in 8 tries with the Astros for Carlos this year. He was 7 for 13 in the National League with Milwaukee before the trade. And there's a hard throw over first. Gomez has been one of those very successful base stealers down through the year. More than 200 stolen bases in his career, and he has a success rate of 80%. Last year he had 34 steals in 46 tries for Milwaukee. One and 0 is an excellent running count. Probably won't be a pitch out.
It is part of that cat and mouse is trying to figure out when Gomez is going to go. And at the same time, Jed Lowry knows with the speedy runner at first, there's a good chance he gets a fastball in this count too.
The Altuve steal in the last inning was the 100th of the year for the Astros. That's a shot out to right center field, and coming over is Miller, and Miller makes the catch. To end the 7th inning, no runs, a hit, and a man left. We move to the 8th, and it's 5-5.
Helps us get to know Josh Fields, who was recalled today, joining the club in September call-ups, and his favorite player growing up, Mariano Rivera. Favorite cereal, Cocoa Pebbles, of course. Hidden talent, duck calling. And if you're around the team at all, you've heard this on the bus, on the plane. He's actually really talented. He also can bark really well. I know this is kind of random, but there you go. Josh Fields. Guys, up to you.
Cocoa Pebbles.
Barking.
That's what you took from that?
Yeah, that's what we took.
What just happened? Josh is going to appreciate that one.
Pat Neshek comes out of the bullpen. It's tied 5-5 as he enters the game in the 8th. In 55 games, he's 3-3 with a 3.04 ERA. And he goes to work with Seth Smith, the batter. Smith takes. There's strike one. Smith has a triple. He's 1 for 2 with a walk. Infield playing him to pull. Excellent job by Vince Velasquez. 4 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 2 runs, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Neshek throws a ball. It's 1-1. The Phillies pounded the Mets in New York 14-8. Beating Jonathan Neese. His record goes to 8-10. Foul back, 1-2. Carson Smith is warming up for Seattle. He was the closer, but now is the setup man for the Mariners. Tom Wilhelmsen has taken over as the closer in recent days. You mentioned earlier, Blummer, they traded Fernando Rodney, their former closer, a while back to the Cubs. So there's been a changeover in that bullpen for Seattle. Foul back. Washington is trying to take advantage of the opening the Mets have given them by winning at St. Louis, and so far it's going well. 5-3 Washington in the middle of the 7th inning. If Washington wins, that Mets lead over them will drop to 5.5.
Was Max Scherzer starting for the Nationals tonight out there in St. Louis?
We're going to check that.
Possibly.
Sounds right.
Taking a wild guess because they have the lead.
Foul back. Well, the Nationals only 2 games over 500 now, 66-64. No. Scherzer did not start that game. Ross started it.
Yeah, that's Joe Ross. That's Tyson Ross's brother out, who pitches for the San Diego Padres.
Neshek gets another foul ball, keeping the count at 1-2 on Seth Smith. Pat had a scoreless inning Saturday night and picked up his 28th hole of the year in Minnesota in the 4-1 win. The Astros have their 7, 8, 9 hitters due up in the last of the 8th inning. Rasmus Stasi Marisnik. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Detroit leads 6-4 at Kansas City, bottom of the 8th now. Texas 3, San Diego nothing in San Diego. Ground ball, Altuve backhands, leaves his feet, gets up and pumps a throw over to Marlon Gonzalez. Excellent work. 1 out.
It's that defense we're talking about. Got to have these guys backing you up. And we talked about the shift too, right in the right spot. Saw it earlier with the play that Correa made up the middle. With as athletic as these Astros defenders are in the infield, they are in the right spot, able to make these plays right here and pick up their pitchers.
Very good work by Altuve. Now it's Trumbo. Trumbo hit a 2-run homer in the 5th. That puts Seattle ahead 5-3. He's 1 for 3 after hitting 2 bombs last night. Ball 1. Angels now have taken the lead at Oakland. It's 3-1 in the top of the 3rd inning. Popped up. Marlon Gonzalez. 2 down.
The Force is arriving in Houston this Sunday as Minute Maid Park transforms into the world of Star Wars. Come dressed as your favorite character and watch as the Astros take on the Twins at 1:10 p.m. All fans with a Star Wars ticket will receive an Orbit One Kenobi bobblehead. For more information, visit astros.com/Star Wars or call 1-877-9-ASTROS.
Brad Miller is 1 for 3, an RBI single. There's a strike. Somebody wants us to explain WAR, Blummer.
Wins above replacement?
Yeah.
Or Star Wars?
WAR, wins above replacement.
How many wins that player gets above, say, a AAA replacement
yes.
player?
So it's a way of ranking players, comparing them to each other, but it's different in the other stats because it ranks pitchers and hitters.
Takes a little bit of defense for the player involved also.
Yes, it does. It's a total ranking of his total skills. 1-on-1. Some people like that, some people don't.
Seems like it's fallen out of favor of late.
It does, doesn't it? Well, for instance, let's just make up some numbers. Let's say Dallas Keuchel has a WAR of 6.5 and Robinson Cano has a WAR of 3.4. So now you have to interpret where this ranks among other pitchers for Dallas, among other hitters, second baseman for Robinson Cano. Interpretation is required, but it's an attempt to put the whole package into one number, as you mentioned, offense, defense.
It is an effort. I mean, it's an interesting. I mean, baseball is a statistical game, and it's just another weapon in the arsenal for arguments.
Line drive single to center field with 2 outs by Miller. Miller's now 2 for 4. That's hit number 7 for Seattle. John Hicks is due up, but a pinch hitter's coming out. It's like Logan Morrison. It is the lefty hitting Logan Morrison. Pinch hitting for Hicks. Jesus Sucre was the catcher last night. We may see him going in. Hicks was 0 for 2 with a walk and stole a base. Morrison is a .219 hitter for 393 at bats. 13 homers, 40 runs batted in for Morrison. As a pinch hitter, he's 0 for 7 with an RBI. Former Marlin. And that gives Lloyd McClendon a left-handed bat against Neshek, which is statistically advantageous for the Mariners. Morrison looks at it, and it's ball 1. Morrison has hit 3-4 homers against the Astros this season. He looks at it and takes that one for a ball to run the count to 2-0. Neshek takes a little walk. Morrison already has hit more homers than he did all of last year, and the most he's had since he hit 23 in 2011 with the Florida Marlins. He's hit only 160 for his last 56 games. He crushes this one to right field. And that one's a 2-run shot into the seats. A 2-run pinch homer by Morrison. 7-5 Seattle. Third long ball of the night for the Mariners. That's the 4th pinch hit homer for a Seattle player this year. And Morrison, who was 0 for 7, strikes with that blow off the bench.
Neshek has been fantastic all year long. This one, really not much sink on that pitch. Kind of railed back over the middle of the plate. And Logan Morrison, with his numbers against the Astros, just continues to square Astros pitching up.
Neshek throwing to Marte, and that's strike 1 to him. He is 0 for 2 with 2 walks. 14 homers for Morrison. It's a 1-ball, 1-strike count. Neshek now has allowed 7 long balls in 48 innings. Swing by Marte takes it to 1-2.
Changeup from Neshek is crazy.
It is. Different looking pitch.
Taking about 25 miles an hour off that pitch.
Yeah, it's really slow. Still 1-2. Kyle Seager's on deck. Struck him out. The Mariners again go up by 2, as they did in the 5th inning on the Trumbo 2-run homer. This time Morrison puts them up 7-5.
Live or on demand in True HD on over 400 devices with MLB.TV Premium. Real-time highlights, live look-ins, pitch tracking, and more. Blackout and other restrictions apply. Visit MLB.TV for details. Brownie?
Thank you, Julia. 7-5 ball game. We go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Seattle has the upper hand at the moment. The Astros have other ideas with Rasmus Stassi and Marisnick 2 up. And the Mariners continue with their bullpen work. You see Hank Conger coming out with a bat. Apparently he will be pinch hitting for Max Stassi against Carson Smith. He's 1-5, 13 saves and 18 opportunities. And lately he has moved into a setup role with that 2.83 ERA.
He's got a good fastball around 93 miles an hour. Also backs it up with a slider, changeup. Throws his changeup pretty hard, averaging around 88 miles an hour on that.
Jesus Sucre is in the game, and so is Logan Morrison. You see Sucre, the catcher, going out to talk with the new pitcher, Carson Smith. Morrison's at first base. Colby Rasmus is 0 for 3. Logan Kensing in 1 inning, allowed 1 hit, no runs, no walks, no strikeouts. Out to left center field. Rasmus will have extra bases. It one-hops the bullpen fence, stays in play. He's in with the leadoff double. He's going to go to third. The throw went behind him, and he just kept running.
It is September 1st, and we are long past spring training, and still fundamentals can be missed. Ball bouncing around out there in that left center field corner. Credit Colby Rasmus getting that changeup up out of the plate, staying on it, driving it the other way. There's a good look at it. You can see that gap out there wide open. Brad Miller, normally a shortstop, out there playing center field, picks this one up. Should have a pretty good idea where that cutoff man's going to be, but decides to yank that throw back towards second base, and that's what allows Colby Rasmus to get into third.
And Conger, the pinch hitter now for Stassi, with strike 1. Conger hit a long ball last night. Hank going 1 for 4 in the game. That was his 9th of the year. He has a .213 average with 22 runs batted in. It's ruled a double and an error now on Miller. That's Miller's 16th error. No balls, 2 strikes. Stassi was 1 for 3 with an RBI. And Conger trying to drive in this run and get more going for the Astros here in the 8th inning as they trail by 2. Ball rolls away from Sucre a little bit for a ball.
Colby knows that ball's going to drop. He's got his head down thinking too easy. But watch him as he watched that throw come back in. That's why you're always keeping your head on a swivel, watching where that baseball is when you're running the bases. Take advantage of mistakes when they're given to you. Every 90 feet counts.
Conger looks at strike 3. 1 out here in the home 8th inning. And Luis Valbuena will pinch hit for Jake Marisnick now. Marisnick was 2 for 3, a homer and a single and 2 runs scored. Valbuena, a .211 hitter with 22 homers, has 48 runs batted in. He's had 384 at bats. Has not had a pinch hit at bat this season. Altuve's on deck with the 2-run lead. Seattle plays the infielders deep, except for the third baseman Seager. Ball to Valbuena. Valbuena was signed as a free agent by Seattle in 2002. First came to the big leagues with the Mariners in 2008. He was with them for parts of 3 seasons before moving along to Cleveland.
Valbuena's been swinging a good bat.
For a strike. 1-1. Yeah, especially hitting the ball hard to left field.
Yeah, it's been up the middle the other way. It's a pretty nasty slider right there. And again, right now, you're in the bottom of the 8th inning, so you have another inning of play. You'd really like to push this run across right here, cut that lead in half if you can, and then go for that game-tying run or game-winning run later on.
One and 2 to Valbuena. He hit .250 on the road trip and he drove in 4. Valbuena has been a .274 hitter in his last 25 games. He's walked 5 times in his last 6 games. And that is a strikeout. 2 in a row after the leadoff double and then the error got Rasmus to third. It's Altuve coming up.
It's been nothing but sliders from Carson Smith.
Altuve in this game has 2 singles and a walk. He's reached base in 29 consecutive games. Along the stretch of his career. Marlon Gonzalez out to the on-deck circle. Altuve with the 2 hits tonight is only 7 away from 800 career hits. Sliders, ball 1. Now Lloyd McClendon is coming out. We don't see anybody warming up in the bullpen, so he has a message here to deliver to Carson Smith.
And I wonder if it's with the base open. Do you want to pitch to Jose Altuve right here? Does have 11 home runs on the season. If you make a mistake, he can jump you and tie this thing up. But at the same time, you said earlier, I think with runners in scoring position, hitting around .330, so this guy is a threat to drive in a run and continue this inning.
Altuve is 0 for 4 lifetime against Carson Smith. Smith got 2 saves against the Astros, June 19th and 20th. But they handed him a loss here at Houston May 3rd on an Evan Gattis homer. That was the first homer Smith had allowed in 21 major league appearances. Showing bunt, Altuve takes a wide one. It's 2-0.
That slider he's been throwing is an indication why he's been so effective against right-handed hitters. 69 batting average against for right-handed batters against Carson Smith.
Altuve looks at a strike. It's 2-1 to Jose.
Pretty gracious call.
Yeah, it seemed to be. Altuve was leaning back. Well, he leans back from that one up and in, and the count goes to 3-1. Smith is 25 years old, listed at 6'6". He's from Dallas. Went to Texas State and Grayson County College. Last year was his first time in the big leagues. He had 9 games with Seattle a year ago. Now it's a full count.
Carson can do whatever he wants right here. Fastball, slider. He's got a 3-2 count. Base open.
Our right-hander begins to get loose. Tom Wilhelmsen, the closer. And a strikeout of Altuve ends the Astros' 8th. They had a runner at third, nobody out, and then Smith struck out 3 in a row. 7-5 Mariners through 8.
In the game, we asked you about the starting pitching. Who had the best month of August? Collectively, these guys put together a .255 starter ERA, best in the league. Well, here were your choices. Dallas Keuchel, Colin McHugh, Mike Fiers, Scott Feldman, who left tonight's game with shoulder discomfort, but had a great August. All of these guys really had a great August. We asked you on Twitter. We got the answer from you guys. It's Dallas Keuchel. Made 6 starts, went 4-1, a 1.94 ERA. Just impressive performances. We saw one yesterday right here at Minute Maid Park where he's been so good. Got his 12th win at home, 16th win on the season. Has a shot at 20 wins this year, guys. I set it up to you.
It's been fun to watch. He does have a shot. He would have to win 4 of his remaining 6 starts. That is quite doable for Dallas Keuchel.
Could have picked any of them, but I think those 4 wins is what put Keuchel ahead.
Luke Gregerson comes in. We have other changes for A.J. Hinch as well, as Kyle Seager leads off the 9th inning. Seager's 1 for 3 with a bases loaded walk. That's ball 1. Pat Neshek in 1 inning allowed 2 hits, 2 runs, no walks, 1 strikeout. Marwin Gonzalez has moved from first base to left field. Hank Conger's in to do the catching. 1 ball, 1 strike. Luis Valbuena is at first base, and Colby Rasmus has moved from left field to right field. In for a strike, and Gregerson has a 1-2 count. The Astros have Gonzalez, Correa, and Gaddis due up in the bottom of the 9th. Wilhelmsen working in the Seattle pen. 2-2.
Got the right part of the order coming up.
Yeah. Gregerson pitched only once on the road trip of 6 games. He gets a strikeout. Seager's out number 1.
Bottom just falls out of that sinker from Gregerson.
Strikeout number 8 for Astros pitchers tonight.
Great movement, great location.
In 52 games, Gregerson's 7-2, 25 for 30 in saves, a 2.82 ERA. And it's Nelson Cruz. Cruz is 0 for 4. Shift is on for him. He takes strike 1. Cruz is 1 for 7 in his career against Gregerson. Luke got the save in the game Saturday night in Minnesota. The 4-1 Astros win. Out of the shift, it's Altuve. 2 outs. And Cano will bat. The roof is rolled open during this game, a rare opportunity in early September, but there was some rain in the area earlier. It's been a cooler than normal day. Cano 0 for 3 with a walk. Angels 5, Athletics 1, top of the 4th in Oakland. Albert Pujols drove in his 77th. Cole Calhoun his 68th in that game. And it's strike 1 to Cano. Texas leads San Diego now 3-2. They're in the middle of the 4th in San Diego. It's 1-1.
Somebody actually scored in that Dodger-Giants game, huh?
Oh, really?
Yeah. Dodgers scored on Bumgarner, 1-0.
Dodgers won it last night. They got a blown save along the way. Took it 2 extra innings. The appeal went to 3rd. Angel Hernandez ruled a check swing. 2-1 on Cano. They're now in the top of the 5th with the Dodgers up on the Giants 1-0. Liner to right field, in for a hit. Cano's aboard. Gutierrez to follow.
Just a mistake slider. Can't do that to a guy like Cano. We know the swing is sweet, but he's been swinging a hot bat of late too.
Oh, look. Right here. Come on.
It's 9 hits now for the M's. Gutierrez has 2 of those 9, a homer and a single to go with a walk. He has scored 3 of their 7 runs. Each club with 9 hits. Adrian Gonzalez drove in the Dodger run off Bumgarner. It's his 79th RBI. Greinke's given up 1 hit in 4 innings. Ball 1 to Gutierrez. Greinke's ERA is 1.57. The Astros trailed 2-0 after the top of the 2nd. They got single runs in the 2nd and 3rd. They trailed 3-2 after 3. Tied it in the 4th on a Marisnick homer. 2-0. So 3-3 there, and then a 2-run homer by Trumbo in the 5th put Seattle up by 2. 5-3. Houston getting 2 in the 6th to tie it. Another 2-run homer by Morrison, pinch hitting in the 8th, has made it 7-5. Two and one. Well, the Astros have played catch up successfully, but they have not been able to grab the lead in this game. In the air into shallow center field. Gomez is coming in for it. To end the top of the 9th, and no runs, a hit and a man left. 2 up for the Astros in the bottom of the 9th. Their 2, 3, 4 hitters, Gonzalez, Correa, and Gaddis, will be with you in just a moment. .com and by HEB. No store does more than my HEB. Seattle 7, Houston 5. We go to the bottom of the 9th inning. The hits are even at 9. The Astros have Gonzalez, Correa, and Gaddis waiting for closer Tom Wilhelmsen. Wilhelmsen is pitcher number 5 for Lloyd McClendon, having taken over the closer's role in 42 games this year. Overall, he's 1-2 with 7 holds when he was a setup man, a 3.67 ERA. And as the closer, he is 6 for 6 in saves.
He's got experience in that closer role. Opportunity for him. He comes out there with about 5 pitches. Fastball at 95 miles an hour, slider, cutter, curveball, changeup. But a good part of the order up.
He was the closer in 2012 and 2013 for Seattle, and last year served as the setup man. Marwin Gonzalez is 0 for 4. Correa on deck. And now getting a chance to move back into that closer's role. He has 60 career saves. Grounded foul. There's strike 1. Wilhelmsen's 31 years old. He's from Tucson. Milwaukee drafted him in the 7th round in 2002. He is 6'6". In for a strike. No balls, 2 strikes for Wilhelmsen.
Good look at the hammer from Wilhelmsen.
Been known for that. His last outing was Saturday against the White Sox. He got the save and a 7-6 Seattle win. Marlin takes a pitch in the dirt for a 1-2 count. Mariners are 26 and 22 in one-run games. Now they lead by a couple, but that's a lot of close games they've played. Logan Kensing can get the win. He hasn't had a win since October 4th of 09. He worked the 7th inning. Bouncer to first. Morrison tossing to Wilhelmsen. 1 out. Carlos Correa is next. He's 1 for 4, a double in the 3rd inning.
It would have been nice to see Marlin on base for this matchup right here. Just on the chance that he gets a pitch to handle and drives it out, tie this thing up. But right now, you just need base runners.
Evan Gattis comes on deck. Correa will try to be that base runner for Gattis. The Angels keep scoring. They lead the Athletics at Oakland 5-1. They're in the bottom of the 4th inning now. And it's strike 1 for Correa.
Come on.
Washington and St. Louis are tied 5-5. Bottom of the 9th in St. Louis. It's 1-1. Scott Kazmir goes tomorrow night for the Astros. Taijuan Walker is his mound opponent. Their time 6:30 for Astros pregame. Foul ball takes the count to 1-2. That's almost 6 years since Logan Kensing got a major league victory. 2,159 days. So he watches, hopefully, as Wilhelmsen works to try to secure it for him. Breaking pitch, and it's taken for ball 2.
2 out of the 3 people at home plate thought that was a strike. One of them wasn't the umpire.
Struck him out. 2 outs.
Stay tuned after the game as Kevin Eschenfelder and Mike Stanton break down all the action from today's game, plus interviews from the clubhouse and much more on the Astros post-game show, presented by Houston Methodist.
Evan Gattis is 0 for 2 with a pair of walks. Carlos Gomez on deck. The Astros have won 22 of their last 27 home games, down to their final out now. Hoping that Gattis can keep it alive. And there's strike 1.
It's been an odd game all the way around with how it started out.
It has.
And then have the Astros bullpen give up those runs late in this game. And now the Seattle Mariners bullpen holding down the Astros offense. It's a role reversal.
A roller to third. Seager with the throw. Gets him. And that ends the game with Seattle winning at 7-5. Kensing getting that win. Wilhelmsen his 7th save. Pat Neshek the loser. As Seattle hit a pair of tie-breaking 2-run homers. One in the 5th, one in the 8th. Winning at 7-5.